having traveled to the world of My Little Pony, became a unicorn and adopted a local name, Red Star Shining. I originally thought I could just enjoy life in this world, so I opened a grocery store in Ponyville. However, to my surprise, this pony world was not quite what I had imagined. Chapter 1. Creating Magic the Shapeshifter. I traveled to the world of My Little Pony, and at first I was quite happy about it. After all, the world of My Little Pony is a dreamlike paradise. However, I seem to have arrived a bit too early. The moment I spent over 10 years wandering alone in Ponyville and accidentally befriended the first family of pioneers, the Smiths, whose 10-year-old daughter was named Smith, I knew I had arrived too early. In a state of confusion, I joined the Apple family and became a part of it, also giving myself a My Little Pony style name, Red Star Shining. Thus, a soul from another world, with a blank expression, a light yellow body, a size similar to Princess Celestia, and a gender-neutral appearance, complete with brown-black mane, and a cute, moving yin-yang symbol on its rear, officially stepped into the world of My Little Pony. Over the course of 60 years, I traveled with the Smith family, collecting seeds, reaching Canterlot, meeting Princess Celestia, helping the Smith family build Ponyville, and eventually opening a grocery store there. Life passed by leisurely. Another new day began, and, as usual, I opened the store's door to sell a variety of groceries. Today is another beautiful day. Red Star Shining sat in the store waiting for customers to come and buy groceries. The grocery store was named Red Star Shining's Grocery Store, and unlike the usual items found in grocery stores, the main products sold here were bizarre items, such as strength potions, Dragon Balls, Blue Eyes, White Dragon summon cards, and diamond pickaxes. Unfortunately, over the decades, not many of these strange items sold, but Red Star Shining still enjoyed it. Dingling. Good morning. Red Star Shining. A pink, fluffy, curly-haired Earth Pony burst into the store. Good morning, Pinky. What are you here to buy today? Red Star Shining watched as Pinky bounced around, poking and looking at everything with a calm expression. Pinky raised her hooves and loudly said, I need these, and these. She pulled out an extremely long shopping list from her hair, which, judging by eye, was too long to measure. After that, Pinky quickly piled up the list and handed it to Red Star Shining, then dashed out before Red Star Shining could say anything. Pinky was really something, always in a hurry. I just couldn't understand these young ponies. Red Star Shining looked at the pile of shopping lists beside her and felt quite happy. A rare big business always made a pony happy. She took out a finely crafted magic book, shook it, and 7 light blue unicorns appeared with a twinkle. Bronze unicorns, this shopping task is up to you. It's this pile. Red Star Shining handed the stack of shopping lists to the 7 unicorns, who nodded and disappeared with the lists. The day passed like this. Red Star Shining closed the store, hung up the close sign, and went to the workshop on the 2nd floor. What should I create today? Red Star Shining sat down and pondered. Creating one object each day had become a habit for Red Star Shining over the decades, stemming from the discovery of a unique special ability decades ago, the ability to create magic. This magic was special, allowed her to create anything at will, including living beings, and most importantly, it didn't consume her physical strength, mental energy, or even magical power, and it had almost no limitations. However, there was one limitation. The things created had to be things that Red Star Shining felt she could create. If there was anything she felt conflicted about or believed she couldn't create, she wouldn't be able to use this ability. For example, the 7 bronze unicorns assigned today to complete the shopping list were creations inspired by a pet from a web game she had played before. There were many similar creations. In fact, after creating too many of these creatures, she had to create a small world to accommodate them. All the living beings created by Red Star Shining were placed in this small world to live, avoiding unnecessary impact on Ponyville, while some interesting but non-disruptive items were left on the shelves for sale. The magic book Red Star Shining used today was a creation that allowed her to directly summon the creatures she wanted from that world, equivalent to a quick summon key. After much thought, Red Star Shining decided to create a shape-shifting creature with a twinkle of sparkling effects. A shapeshifter was born at IT, was similar to a regular shapeshifter, but had the distinction of not needing love as sustenance and could eat like an ordinary pony. As for why she created the shapeshifter, Red Star Shining had her reasons. I, Red Star Shining, have lived for over 100 years, and while I've always had a relaxed and happy life, I am getting older and need a way to understand these young ponies. However, for some reason, the young ponies in Ponyville don't like to work or take part-time jobs in my store. Sometimes, I feel it might be because I am from the older generation and these kids might not want to interact with me. But today, when Pinky pulled out such a long list, it made me suddenly realize that even though I had learned some of the settings and plots of My Little Pony in my previous life, I still couldn't truly understand the thought processes of these young ponies through actual interaction. Thus, I decided to create a tool to help me understand these young ponies, which is this shape-shifting creature serving as my special agent responsible for helping me understand what the young ponies are really thinking. A shapeshifter is quite fitting, as they excel in such matters in My Little Pony, that I recall there were similar storylines involving purification or evolution later in the plot, which seemed to be positive, possibly a redemption arc for villains. So, leaving it to the shapeshifter would be fine. It could infiltrate Queen Chrysalis's team and exist openly in this world without worrying about causing unnecessary trouble like my other creations. However, just to be safe from being mistakenly harmed, I ensured it had protective charms to guarantee it wouldn't die, maintain its health, facilitate stealth, and allow for a quick escape. Red Star Shining cleared her throat and said, "Now your name is Eggplant Box, that I have a task for you. Infiltrate Ponyville, become friend with the young ponies there, and let me understand what the young ponies are really thinking." The shapeshifter, Eggplant Box, nodded, then took out paper and pen, quickly writing down a task guideline for Red Star Shining. After finishing, with a whoosh, Eggplant Box flew out of the window. Well then, everything's done, so it's time to sleep. Chapter 2. Nightmare Moon. Mare looked at the orderly celebration setup and couldn't help but exclaim. Next to her, Starlight Glimmer was sipping hot tea, quietly supervising the celebration preparations. Oh, and by the way, Princess Luna also sent her student to inspect the work. We can't let her down, right, Mayor? As soon as Starlight spoke, Mare felt an increase in pressure, especially when she saw a purple pony with messy hair and a helpless expression, along with a baby dragon, pass by. The mayor felt even more overwhelmed. By the way, where's Pinkie Pie? Asked the mayor. Starlight pointed towards the Oak Library. She's over there throwing a party. Meanwhile, a mare resembling an eggplant was being warmly welcomed at Pinkie Pie's party. I hate hot sauce, the eggplant mare said. As the time for the celebration arrived, ponies gathered at the venue early, filled with joy and anticipation for the moment everyone was waiting for. The entire venue was bustling with excitement and happiness. At that moment, the mayor announced loudly, "Let's give a warm welcome to Princess Luna." However, as soon as she finished speaking, the crowd fell into shock. The spot where Princess Luna was supposed to appear was now empty. All the ponies widened their eyes, unable to believe what was happening. "Oh, my dear subjects, it seems I haven't seen your lovely faces in a long time." A purple mist rose, and a creature the ponies had never seen before, Nightmare Moon, stood in that spot. This was the very thing that worried Twilight the most. After showing her power and presence to the ponies, Nightmare Moon left the venue, but the ponies remained shivering in the shadow she cast. Twilight was the first to leave the venue in search of a way to combat Nightmare Moon, followed closely by Spike as they ran towards the Golden Oak Library. "Eggplant, keep up," Starlight Glimmer quietly urged the Eggplant mare. Eggplant nodded, ready to follow. Just then, she suddenly turned around to grab a camera and took off running again. "And one more thing, be careful." Eggplant nodded and hurried after them. Starlight stroked her chin and said slowly, "In that case, I have a plan." The mayor was delighted. "That's great. Thank you for your help." Starlight then walked up to the stage and shouted, "Residents of Ponyville, now is not the time to be downhearted. This is a critical moment. We must unite and stand together to confront the threat of Nightmare Moon. Princess Luna needs our help. Residents, arm yourselves to defend our home." For Ponyville, there was a moment of silence. For Ponyville, the other ponies rallied. Thus, the ponies began to build defenses in Ponyville. Cannons, catapults, machine guns, Gatling guns, grenades. Within no time, Ponyville transformed into a military base. As the last rocket launcher was set up, Mayor Mare, wearing a camouflage headband and carrying a submachine gun, asked Starlight, who was still sipping tea beside her, "Is this deployment enough?" Starlight set down her teacup and replied calmly, "Remember the last time when the zombie ponies surrounded Ponyville?" At this, Mayor Mare switched her submachine gun for a Gatling gun. Meanwhile, Twilight and her friends were on their way to the ancient castle ruins in the Everfree Forest. "Girls, aren't you tired carrying all those strange weapons?" Twilight asked as she looked at Spike and the others, all clad in ammunition and carrying submachine guns, feeling quite speechless. Especially Applejack, who was carrying 2 rocket launchers. Pinkie Pie jumped next to Twilight, draping a hoof around her neck. "I even brought a tank." With a swish, Pinkie produced a tank from seemingly nowhere. Twilight didn't think much of it. After all, the element of harmony was of utmost importance. Suddenly, the ground collapsed beneath them. They had reached a cliff, and the weight of the tank caused part of it to give way, putting them in danger. Luckily, Fluttershy managed to grab hold of Rarity's tail just in time, preventing her from falling off the cliff. "Hold on to me. Rainbow Dash. Quick." Applejack leaped off the cliff, grabbing onto a ledge with one hoof, while Twilight was firmly clamped by Applejack's hind legs. Rainbow Dash didn't care about Pinkie and the tank. She quickly dropped her submachine gun and flew over to Applejack's position to grab Twilight, safely placing her on the ground. Then, Rainbow Dash helped Applejack down as well, reuniting with Rarity and Fluttershy. Is Pinky okay? Wait, I'll open this thing to save you. Rainbow Dash flew to the damaged tank hatch and pulled on the handle with all her might. With a clang, Pinky kicked the tank hatch open. Don't worry, Rainbow. I'm fine. But where's Rainbow? Twilight pointed in shock at a large rock nearby, where Rainbow Dash was stuck. Over there. Pinky quickly flashed in front of Rainbow, pulling her down from the rock. Oh, I'm so sorry, Rainbow. I used too much force. Please don't be mad. Shaking her head and regaining her composure, Twilight joined Pinky and Rainbow. Thank goodness everyone is okay. Thanks to Applejack and Rainbow, otherwise I might have become a pancake. Applejack patted Twilight on the shoulder, looking relaxed. No need to thank us. We're all good friends. It's what friends do. But now, we have a problem with that scorpion-tailed lion blocking our path. We've lost our weapons. This is going to be tough. Looking in the direction Applejack pointed, they saw a scorpion-tailed lion, its fur bristling, baring its fangs and glaring at them at the roadblock. Sisters, the situation is urgent. Let us charge in. Just as Twilight called out to her friends to prepare for battle against the scorpion-tailed lion, Fluttershy stopped them. Let me handle this. Twilight worried for Fluttershy's safety and was about to stop her when Applejack interrupted. Trust Fluttershy. Applejack's eyes were filled with complete faith in Fluttershy. But Fluttershy, trust me. Just like I trust you, Applejack said, her determined gaze moving Twilight. Don't worry, Twilight. Don't let Fluttershy's usual demeanor fool you. She knows what she is doing. Rarity chimed in. Yeah, while it's not guaranteed, let us not forget we're right here. If there's danger, I can save Fluttershy in a blink, Rainbow added. Same. Go. Pinky cheered. With a sigh, Twilight decided to support and trust Fluttershy. Be safe, Fluttershy. After saying that, Fluttershy walked towards the scorpion-tailed lion under the watchful eyes of her friends. Chapter 3. The Element of Harmony. Wow. Fluttershy, how did you know the scorpion-tailed lion was injured? Twilight was quite surprised. Fluttershy turned to look. The scorpion-tailed lion was still waving a handkerchief and saying goodbye. Rarity smiled at Twilight and said, almost no small creature can resist Fluttershy's kindness, even if the scorpion-tailed lion is not exactly a small creature. Rainbow, jokingly, added, don't forget. The Timberwolves don't buy into this either. Suddenly, Pinky darted over. What is tasty? Applejack, who was leading the way, suddenly stopped. Hey girls, this forest feels off. The ponies halted. The woods they found themselves in had an eerie atmosphere, with trees sporting strange faces, giving off a vibe reminiscent of a wolfest den. As Twilight walked through this strange forest, her feelings of fear grew harder to suppress, and she couldn't help but look at the other ponies, only to find the situation was unexpected. Girls, aren't you afraid? Looking at Applejack and the others, who are calm and composed, Ziwa suddenly felt less scared. Yunbao raised her eyebrows and said casually, these strange faces, while they can indeed give you a scare, if you stand next to Hongxing Shanshan for a while, this level of fright is no different from visiting a haunted house. Applejack agreed. Yeah, you know Hongxing Shanshan's aura is terrifyingly cold, and his gaze is extremely sharp. That eternally unchanging cold expression and high-pressure temperament make young ponies need immense courage to talk to him. Jinchi interjected, don't listen to their nonsense. Hongxing Shanshan is actually a pretty good pony, just a bit overly serious. Rura nodded, yes, Hongxing Shanshan is really nice. Nearby, Beaky jumped into chat. And Hongxing Shanshan has so many strange and wonderful things, like a crown that turns you into a frog, a horn that summons a minotaur to be a temporary bodyguard, wish-granting orange transparent beads, and balls that can fit ponies inside, and so on. Oh, look at that funny-faced tree over there. Beaky pointed. And all 6 ponies looked towards the funny-faced tree, which was clearly the scariest among them, but they felt no fear, especially when Beaky burst out laughing. Her laughter infectious enough that they all couldn't help but join in, laughing heartily. The funny-faced tree disappeared in their laughter. See, Ziyue, it's not scary at all. Beaky said cheerfully, resting a hoof on Ziyue's shoulder. Ha! Yunbao, flying in midair, shouted, everyone wait, there's no path ahead. Beaky tilted her head in confusion. How do we get across? A rapidly flowing river blocked their way, the waves high and swirling, so dense that even fish swimming in it would be turned to mush. At that moment, a sound of crying came from nearby, sorrowful and heart-wrenching. Shall we go see, sisters? Let's go. They moved forward, peeking out from the grass to see a large creature sobbing uncontrollably. Sorry to interrupt, sir. What happened to make you cry so sadly? Yunbao said, looking speechless. Applejack added, it's just a little bit of a mustache. Jinchi couldn't stand this and spoke up for the water monster. Steven, What do you mean, just a little mustache? You really don't understand how to be considerate. Oh, poor guy, look at those shiny scales, his well-groomed hairstyle, perfectly trimmed nails, and yet the crucial mustache is gone. Everything is ruined. Stephen felt much of his sadness dissipate with Jinchi's heartfelt comfort. What surprised Ziyue and the others was that Jinchi actually took a scale from Stephen, cut off a piece of her own tail, and placed it where Stephen's mustache used to be. Stephen was deeply moved and, in gratitude, personally helped them across the river, becoming good friends with Jinchi and the others. As they continued on, they were blocked by a cliff, and the castle ruins were clearly visible across the way. Biki exclaimed, "Oh, look at this terrain, it's just so grassy." Ziyue was taken aback. "What?" Yunbao explained, "Don't mind it, it's just an old saying from Hongxing Shanshan." "I see." Ziyue didn't ask further. Yunbao volunteered, shook her wings, flew down the cliff, and retied the broken suspension bridge. Just as she was about to secure it and call her friends to cross, she suddenly heard a ghostly voice calling her name. "Who?" Yunbao became alert, looking around. But the mist was thick. "We have been waiting for the best flyer in all of Ponyland." Yunbao was confused. "Huh? Who are they talking about?" "Of course it's you." Yunbao. Three mysterious ponies in flight suits emerged from the mist. Their words struck a chord with Yunbao, causing her to lower her guard. "We hope you will join us. The Shadow Pegasus team. We are the best flying team in the Eternal Freedom Forest, soon to be the best in all of Ponyland. But before that, we need a captain, the most handsome, skilled, and courageous flyer. We need you, Yunbao." Yunbao felt completely at ease. "I'm happy to join you. Just let me finish tying the bridge first." The Shadow Pegasi interrupted her, demanding, "Do you want us or them?" Yunbao suddenly snapped back to reality, realizing these three ponies didn't seem very friendly. "Thank you for your consideration, but I decline." Seeing their persuasion fail, the three ponies transformed into three clouds of purple smoke and vanished. They made their way into the castle ruins, arriving at the room where the elements of harmony were stored. "Look, we found the elements of harmony," Yunbao said, flying over to take down the 5 elements from the stone pedestal. "Strange, there are only 5, one is missing." Biki counted and looked at Ziyue. "The book says that if you gather all 5 elements, a spark will reveal the 6th element." Biki took out a pair of flint stones and struck them to create sparks. "Hey, it doesn't work." Applejack pondered carefully, but came to no conclusion. Ziyue asked Applejack and the others to step back and began to channel magic, trying other methods. Applejack called the others outside, allowing Ziyue to focus on her research. Just as she stepped away, Nightmare Moon appeared, using magic to whisk away the elements of harmony, and Ziyue was also swept away, transported to another room in the castle. Standing on a high platform, Nightmare Moon looked down at Ziyue, laughing contemptuously. The others realized Ziyue and the elements of harmony had disappeared and rushed towards the area, glowing with magical light in the castle, calling out for Ziyue as they ran. Chapter 4. Ticket Trouble in the cheerful atmosphere of Ponyville. Hongxing Shanshan pulled out a few of the most representative photos, including Biki sitting in a tank cockpit, Yunbao stuck in a stone wall like an ancient Egyptian mural, the "But I Refuse" Yunbao, Ziyue peeking out from the grass, and the last one, the cataract Ziyue, along with many photos of Ziyue's various facial expressions. This was a rare collection. These dozen photos were collected into an album as thick as a dictionary by Hongxing Shanshan, titled Pony's Black History Commemorative Album. Just like that, Hongxing Shanshan stepped out of the grocery store. The place fell silent. Even the bouncing Biki froze in midair. Outside, the noise continued. "See, it's not that I don't want to fit in, it's just that there's no opportunity." Hongxing Shanshan could never understand what this group of young ponies was thinking. He wasn't a monster, and he really didn't get it. Days passed just like that. Hongxing Shanshan continued as usual, sitting in the grocery store, sipping tea and reading the newspaper. Suddenly, Ziyue dashed in with Suilong, hiding under the counter. The ground shook slightly, and glancing over, it turned out that the residents of Ponyville were all passing by outside. "So, little girl, what do you want to buy?" Hongxing Shanshan continued sipping tea and reading the newspaper without changing his actions. Only when he no longer heard the sounds of the young ponies chasing them outside did Ziyue slowly emerge from under the counter. "Oh, I'm really sorry to disturb you. Do you have any disguises we can use?" Ziyue forced a royal smile. Hongxing Shanshan frowned and put down the newspaper. "Oh, what did you do to make that group of young ponies go crazy outside? I haven't seen them act like that in years. Care to chat?" Listening to the tone and voice of Red Star Shining, and looking at Red Star Shining, a young unicorn pony that resembles the cosmic princess in size. It's not easy to tell its gender at first glance, but upon closer inspection, it can generally be identified as a stallion, giving off a mature vibe. Probably 5 to 8 years older than itself, like a pony that has seen a lot of the world. Thus, Ziyue sighed helplessly and said slowly, alas. It's all because of this ticket to the Galloping Gala. All the residents of Ponyville have gone crazy over it. I only have 2 tickets, but everyone wants one. And each pony has a reason I can't refuse. It's too hard to choose. No matter how I pick, someone without a ticket will be hurt. Su Long interjected. By the way, boss, you don't seem to be interested in the Galloping Gala? This is the Galloping Gala. The best and grandest celebration in all of Ponyville. Don't you feel anything? After saying that, Su Long waved a ticket in front of Red Star Shining. Ziyue quickly pulled Su Long behind her, showing a royal, awkward smile. Red Star Shining simply said, take my advice, you want to go to that gala. Then he used magic to take 2 sets of casual clothes from the shelf and handed them to Ziyue. 50 bits off. After Ziyue received the clothes and paid, she asked in confusion, boss, have you been to the Galloping Gala? Red Star Shining replied, yes, I've been a few times. Ziyue became curious. What is it like? Is it really great? Red Star Shining replied, very boring. Su Long twirled his mustache and said somewhat pretentiously, it seems like the boss here is full of stories. I almost forgot to introduce myself. I'm Su Long, a little dragon. She is Ziyue, a student of the Cosmic Princess. What is your name, boss? Red Star Shining. Oh, so you're the Red Star Shining that Applejack and Rainbow Dash were talking about. I thought from their descriptions that you were a very serious old man. In fact, I can be considered an old man. That little girl Smith calls me uncle. I'm over 100. Su Long was shocked. You're over 100? You look about the same age as Macintosh. I didn't expect you to be older than Ponyville. Red Star Shining waved his hoof. As the saying goes, not all horses age the same. I just don't show my age. Ziyue thought for a moment. A 100-year-old stallion who has been to the Galloping Gala could surely give her advice on this matter, so she sought help from Red Star Shining. Upon hearing Ziyue's plea for help, the elder Red Star Shining offered a suggestion. Avoiding the problem won't solve it. Naturally, you need to face the issue head-on. They are your friends, but don't forget, you are also their friend. Some matters cannot be resolved merely by indulgence. It requires mutual communication and understanding. Red Star Shining placed the newspaper down and finished his tea in one gulp. How about this? I'll give you a demonstration. As the saying goes, the bystander sees clearly while the participant is confused. In the future, when faced with similar situations, having a coping strategy will make it easier to handle. After saying this, Red Star Shining directly walked out of the shop, with Ziyue and Su Long walking beside him. Where are we going? Ziyue asked, somewhat confused. To the Golden Oak Library. After receiving the answer, Ziyue didn't ask more questions and quietly walked to the library. Strangely, the usually talkative Su Long was silent the entire way. Upon arriving at the library, they entered. Suddenly, 5 ponies rushed out from nowhere and surrounded Ziyue. Just as Rainbow Dash was about to ask for a ticket, Applejack covered her mouth. Aha! What an early morning. Oh no, late evening. No, what a coincidence, old man. Hearing this, Rainbow Dash, who was struggling, stopped resisting. And the 5 ponies stood obediently to the side. Even Pinkie Pie was considerably serious. Red Star Shining spoke up. I've heard that you all have caused quite a stir in Ponyville over a ticket to the Galloping Gala. As soon as he said this, the 5 ponies felt guilty. This was indeed not a good thing. Facing the most serious and cold-faced elder in Ponyville. Even Pinkie Pie didn't know what to say, stammering like a goose, trying to muddle through. When you all wanted to get Ziyue's ticket, did you ever think that while you are her friends, Ziyue is also your friend? You are all thinking of using your friendship with Ziyue to get something from her. But not one of you considered the trouble this brings to Ziyue. You are Ziyue's friends. The decision about the ticket should be made by Ziyue herself, and should not be coerced by your hard-earned friendship to satisfy your own desires. One by one, the 5 ponies felt deeply ashamed, lowering their heads to apologize to Ziyue. Realizing their mistakes, they reconciled. Ziyue then made a bold decision. She directly wrote a letter to the Cosmic Princess, and after finishing, Su Long sent it off. If one friend doesn't go, then I won't go either. Rarity felt sad, but now you can't go to the gala either. You don't have to go to this extent for us. Applejack also felt guilty. Ziyue was very happy. If my friends aren't around, I want to have fun, so I'd rather not participate. Oh Ziyue. They hugged. Well, everyone is happy. This matter was resolved smoothly. Ziyue was very grateful to Red Star Shining. I always thought you were a very difficult pony to get along with. But I didn't expect you to be so easy to get along with. Earlier, Applejack said your aura was terrifying, your gaze sharp. And your perpetually cold expression and high-pressure demeanor made it so that the younger ponies would need great courage to talk to you. Rainbow Dash even said standing next to you was scarier than going through a haunted house. Plus, I hadn't met you during my time in Ponyville. I'm glad this time cleared up the misunderstanding. Otherwise, I wouldn't know when I could meet such a reliable elder. Red Star Shining nodded. I see. Then he glanced at the two ponies sneaking towards the door. Rainbow Dash, Applejack, why are you two in such a hurry? Rainbow Dash and Applejack stiffly turned their heads. Well, yes, we're just too happy. Red Star Shining's gaze was stern. It seems you Haven-T stopped talking behind my back. Rainbow Dash and Applejack's hearts raced, shaking their heads frantically. No, absolutely not. Red Star Shining said lightly. Good, very good. You two each write a 10,000-word reflection and deliver it to my shop by next week. Yes. Rainbow Dash and Applejack moved like zombies towards the Golden Oak Library's exit, visibly gloomy. I was wondering why the ponies have been getting more afraid of me lately. Red Star Shining's language was one of exasperation. Chapter 5. The Apple Kicking Festival. The weather was clear today, a great day for groundbreaking. The one speaking was the eggplant box. Why are we breaking ground? Isn't it obvious? We're building a house. Then why only start today? As an excellent agent, executing an undercover mission flawlessly requires prioritizing intelligence. Over the past week, I have been focusing on gathering information. First, I created a persona as a travel enthusiast pony. Then built external intelligence around this persona, making all the ponies believe that I am very satisfied with Ponyville and plan to settle down. I spent more than a week getting to know most of the residents in Ponyville, leaving a great impression and providing greater convenience for my father to understand the actions of the younger ponies. Regarding building a house, undercover work requires a separate base, and moving into my father's shop would only attract unnecessary trouble and attention. However, it seems I don't have any architectural skills. Looking at the battle-damaged style of construction debris in front of me, I could only think of another way out of sheer helplessness. Suddenly, an idea struck me. If one pony won't do, why not find another pony? I quickly dashed off to find a pony. Oh, almost forgot to turn off the light. The scene shifts to the apple orchard, where Applejack is talking to Macintosh. Leave the house matters to me. Every pony in Ponyville knows I'm the most enthusiastic and reliable pony. Applejack says confidently. Macintosh, who is bandaged up, nudges Applejack and points to the endless rows of apple trees behind her. Your job is no easy task. Don't worry. I can handle it. You should rest early. I can get half of it done today. Macintosh glances at Applejack and says, your confidence really worries me. After discussing the specific time and arrangements with Applejack, I left the orchard and wandered around town to see who else I could ask for help. I happened to run into Pinkie Pie and was just about to chat with her when suddenly the ground shook. Hey, Boxy, you sound silly, Pinkie exclaimed, shaking like an electric motor. What is going on? Is there an earthquake? But that doesn't make sense. I've studied Ponyville's geography and geology, and we're not on an earthquake fault. Turning to look outside of town, I was stunned by the sight. A stampede of cattle was racing wildly. A blitzkrieg assault on Ponyville indeed. I thought this was an opportunity to showcase my charm and abilities to the young ponies. To shape an image of a warm-hearted and reliable pony, thus integrating faster into their group. So I rushed up to try to stop the stampede. However, a pony was faster than me. That pony was, of course, Applejack, along with her dog, Winona. Applejack, you're just in time. Let's stop this herd together. Applejack nodded and shouted, Boxy, fly onto the lead cow and yank her head to make them run right. Winona, go to the other side and keep the herd together. With Applejack's guidance and my cooperation, the rampaging herd was quickly brought under control, halting outside of town. The ponies in town saw the problem was resolved and gathered around to watch. After Applejack inquired, everyone learned that the herd had been spooked by a snake, causing them to run for their lives. I can't imagine how big that snake must have been. With everything perfectly resolved, Applejack and I were praised by everyone, and the compliments kept coming like they were free. Then came the classic ending, a big party. Pinkie Pie shouted, and every pony responded, reminiscent of a certain failed art student giving a speech in a tavern. With Applejack's help, my new home was quickly built, a 3-story wooden house situated on a plot of land on the outskirts of Ponyville. I never expected you, as a Pegasus, to be so incredibly strong. The workload we had would usually take us at least 2 days, but we finished in less than half a day. Applejack truly admired my strength. She had never seen such a strong pony. The heavy beams were something even the most powerful pony could barely move. But I lifted them as easily as picking up an apple without needing any ropes. I shook my head and thanked Applejack, saying, even if I am strong, without your help, Applejack, I couldn't have built such a great house. Applejack smiled and replied, indeed, that unparalleled battle-damaged style is something even all of Equestria couldn't replicate. Being too honest isn't always a good thing, so I forced a smile and said nothing. Suddenly remembering that Macintosh still needed to recover, I kindly asked Applejack if she needed anything. She waved her hoof, indicating it wasn't necessary. I need to earn Macintosh's respect, otherwise he might really think I'm just boasting. I couldn't help but smirk at how much Applejack cared about her pride. I made a mental note of that. All right then, thanks. Once you're done, I'll treat you to a meal. Applejack laughed and replied, I won't be polite then. I said, we're good friends, so why be polite? Let's eat. Ha. Okay. I'll see you after I'm done. I'm off now. The two of us waved our hooves and parted ways. With the house built, the next step was to find Pinkie Pie. A housewarming party was essential, and since Pinkie knew all the residents of Ponyville, having her help would speed up my integration into the younger pony community like a rocket. With my next battle plan in mind, I quickly made my way to Sugar Cube Corner and found Pinkie. Thank you so much for being willing to help, but Applejack has already promised to assist me. She is the best pastry baker in Ponyville, second only to me, so I'm already at full capacity. However, I can take care of your housewarming party. No one knows parties better than I do in all of Ponyville. Just wait for me to finish. All right, I wish you all the best, Pinkie. Thanks, Boxy. After wandering around Ponyville for a while, I found that there were hardly any ponies who needed my help. Almost half of them either had Applejack assisting them or had already finished helping. Just when I was feeling bored walking down the road, I happened to see Zekara and Twilight decorating the hall by the roadside. Hey, Twilight, how's your work going? Do you need any help? Twilight greeted me, saying, Hi, Boxy. I heard your new house is finished today. Speaking of Applejack, do you know where she is? Twilight asked. I don't know. She ran off to do something else after my house was done. I shook my head. Just then, Rainbow Dash arrived on the scene. Are you guys talking about Applejack? I haven't seen her in a week. I have no idea what she's busy with. Pinkie also popped up and said, Me too. Rainbow Dash confidently replied. But Applejack is never late. If she has the right direction, she'll show up right on time. Twilight, holding a stack of papers as high as a pony's head, began organizing them on the podium, casting a sound amplification spell to start reading her speech. Before she could finish a few lines, Rainbow Dash rushed onto the stage to praise Applejack's speed and skills while offering to help her practice new flying stunts. Then Pinkie appeared from below the podium to praise Applejack's skills, while also promoting Sugar Cube Corner. Just as she pushed Pinkie aside, Fluttershy shyly interrupted Twilight and spoke on the stage about how Applejack would help her complete the census of newborn bunnies. Watching Fluttershy retreat, Twilight reorganized her notes. Is there anyone else? A smiling Mayor was nearby. Twilight looked exasperated and reluctantly made room for the mayor. The mayor walked up to the podium. Ahem. Without further ado, it is my honor to present the Little Horse Valley Outstanding Pony Award to the beloved recipient, the most trustworthy, loyal, and kind-hearted pony, Applejack. Let's give her a warm welcome. The curtain beside the stage rises, but there is no pony in sight, which is quite the twist. Just as everyone is puzzled, the main character, Applejack, arrives at the scene carrying 2 large baskets of apples. I'm here, sorry for being late. However, she seems off. Her eye bags are heavy, and she looks a bit out of it. Yawning, Applejack walks up to the shiny golden trophy under everyone's gaze. Then, in a daze, she grabs the trophy and drags it away. The crowd is left speechless, watching Applejack exit in confusion. Don't you think Applejack seems a bit off? Ziyue asks in confusion. Tired? Yimbao suggests. Dizzy? Ruru adds. Dirty. Jinchi chimes in, and everyone looks at her speechlessly. Jinchi's focus is always unique. On the other hand, Beaky feels everything is normal, which is very Beaky-like. Chiha also finds it hard to hold back. Applejack has been so busy today, helping with one thing after another. And she has an entire apple orchard's worth of apples to collect by herself. Applejack is clearly trying to be strong. We need to persuade her to take a break, or she will wear herself out. Hearing Chia's words, Ziyue becomes very worried about Applejack's condition. Girls, Applejack needs help. Chapter 6. The title was eaten by Chiha. It seems that Applejack really does need help. Watching Applejack continuously miss her kicks at the apple tree, Ziyue and Chiha start brainstorming. Just as Ziyue is about to go directly and stop Applejack from working, Chiha stops her. Ziyue, if you try to persuade her directly, it won't work. Applejack's stubbornness is beyond your imagination. Trying to convince her to take a break is like asking Beaky to give up throwing a party. Beaky shouts, No one can stop me from throwing a party. No one. So what do? We can't just watch Applejack continue like this, Jinchi says, very worried. Perhaps we can actively help Applejack collect the apples from the orchard, so she can rest sooner, Ruru weakly suggests. Chia's light bulb moment shines. I have an idea, but it requires everyone's cooperation. By the way, Beaky, where did you get that light bulb? Chiha huddles close with the others. Let's do this first, and then that. Yimbao approaches Applejack. Hey, Applejack. Applejack does not respond. Applejack. Yimbao raises her voice. What? Oh, Yimbao. Oh no, sorry, I got busy and forgot. I'll help you with your plan right away. Applejack looks exhausted. Yimbao shakes her head. Chiha said there's something urgent she needs us for. I thought with your help, we could solve it perfectly. Applejack, with heavy eye bags, looks vacantly at the empty space beside Yunbao. With me around, there won't be any surprises. Yunbao moves Applejack's head towards herself. Okay, let's hurry. Chiaha is anxious. In Ponyville. So what exactly does Chiaha need us for? Applejack, with her mind unclear, only remembers to ask about Chiaha's request once they arrive in town. Yunbao grins. You'll find out when we get there. The scene shifts, and the two ponies arrive at the entrance of the shiny Red Star grocery store. Yunbao confidently pushes Applejack inside. Let's hurry in. Applejack's vision is completely blurred, but for some reason, she feels uneasy, as if she has come to a place she shouldn't be. Upon entering the store, they see Ziyue and Suilong searching for something. Oh, Applejack, you came at just the right time. Quick, help Chia find something. What are we looking for? Applejack asks, forcing her eyes open. It's a photo film negative. Chia has been looking for it for almost half a day, and she's so anxious she's about to cry. It's a photo of her most important friend, and we've searched everywhere but haven't found it. Ziyue uses magic to lift box after box, carefully searching every nook and cranny. At this moment, Jinshi also enters the grocery store. I didn't find anything in my area either. Jinshi shakes her head. Then comes Ruru and Biki. I've searched the candy house, the Great Hall, and even outside the town, and I still haven't found anything, Biki says, her head drooping. I even had the little animals help search for a long time, but we still didn't find it. Ruru's face shows guilt. Yunbao thinks for a moment and says, I found my way to the apple orchard and saw Applejack, but I didn't see the photo negative. Where else haven't we looked? Biki shouts, I've turned Ponyville upside down. Ziyue furrows her brows, thinks for a moment, and glances at Applejack, suddenly realizing, it seems we haven't searched your apple orchard, Applejack. Applejack, with a slightly dazed head, recalls something. Chia did come to the apple orchard, but whether she dropped the photo there, I don't know. Let's go search the apple orchard together. Saying this, Applejack bumps into the wall. Why won't this door open? Yunbao positions Applejack in front of the main door. This is the door. Applejack thanks the coat rack beside her. Thanks, Yunbao. No problem. They arrive at the apple orchard. Upon entering, they see Chiaha looking for the photo. Not here, and not here. Where could it be? Where did it fall? Chiaha mutters while searching the grass and kicking the apple trees. And the apples fall accurately into the basket below. Chiaha's muttering is loud, and combined with Applejack's current fuzzy head, not to mention that on the way, Ziyue and the others have been telling the dazed Applejack how precious Chia's photo is, how they must find it, and how important Chia's photo is. Now, Applejack's mind is filled with thoughts of Chia's photo, and she hardly notices Chiaha helping kick the apple trees. When Chiaha sees Applejack and the others coming, she immediately smiles and says softly, Oh, thank you for coming back to help me, Applejack. With your help, I'm sure I can find my photo negative. Saying this, Chiaha gives Biki and Jinshi a look, and they instantly understand, quietly slipping away while Applejack is preoccupied with thoughts of Chia's photo. Ziyue also gently says to Applejack, Let's split up, Applejack, so we can find it faster. Chiaha quickly pulls Yunbao away. Thank you all for your help. Yunbao and I will search over here. Ziyue, you take Suilong and Applejack to search over there. Chiaha points in a direction and runs off with Yunbao. Ziyue smiles at Applejack. Applejack, you search the ground and the grass, and I'll look in the trees. Let us do our best. Come on, Suilong. Suilong jumps off Ziyue and gives a thumbs up. Applejack instinctively nods, following Ziyue's suggestion to search the ground. Standing straight is fine. At least Applejack can still be in a half-awake state. But leaning down and looking at the ground with her sleepy eyes makes her even more tired. Finally, Applejack can't hold on anymore and collapses to the ground. But Jinshi and Ziyue, who are hiding nearby, quickly use magic to levitate Applejack into the air. While Biki takes out a bed for Applejack, and Yunbao carefully puts a sleep mask and ear muffs on her, covering her with a blanket. Yay! We finally got it done. Yunbao claps her hooves. Operation success. Ziyue looked at Applejack's sleeping face and felt a little excited, saying, Things are going smoother than I imagined. Thanks to Chia's plan, which is very effective. But will Applejack blame us when she wakes up? Jinshi pondered for a moment and replied, Generally speaking, Applejack would indeed be angry. At that moment, Yunbao placed a hoof on Chia's back, and the two little ponies smiled and said, Don't worry. Chia has already arranged the conclusion of the follow-up work. With him around, Applejack won't have any complaints at all. Jinshi understood instantly. Biki seemed to get it, but not quite, while Ziyue and Suilong were completely confused and slowly typed out a question mark. The afternoon passed. Applejack stretched and slowly sat up from bed. I feel so refreshed. Wait, why am I in bed? Taking off her eye mask and ear muffs. Applejack looked bewildered. When she turned to look at the other side of the bed, she was startled. What the hey? No, old man. How did you get here? Seeing Hongxing Shanshan sitting in a chair by the bed reading the adventures of the daring Do, all remnants of sleepiness vanished. Hongxing Shanshan closed the book, placed it aside, and looked at Applejack, slowly saying, I heard you were very busy today, too busy to rest, and collapsed, so I came to check on you. Applejack looked nervous and stammered, well, I guess I was really busy. Seeing Applejack no longer being stubborn, Hongxing Shanshan said, although I can't understand what you young ones are thinking, Applejack, you are never alone. You have your friends. You need to understand that a single pony's ability is limited. Being too proud only leads to suffering. Applejack didn't speak, looking down in contemplation, perhaps realizing she really needed help. Hongxing Shanshan immediately noticed Applejack recognizing her issues and took out her trump card for a decisive blow. Several magical photos were spread out on Applejack's bed. There were photos of her missing the apple tree multiple times, standing in place dozing off, kicking the tree but hitting the apple basket instead, stubbornly kicking a dead tree, forgetting to put down the basket while kicking the apple tree, and kicking the wrong tree after putting down the basket, and many more. Applejack turned red as a boiled kettle, unable to look directly at her foolish actions. Seeing Applejack returning to normal, Hongxing Shanshan felt relieved. When Applejack heard Hongxing Shanshan leaving, she crawled out from under the blanket, looked out at the sunset, felt a stir in her heart, and got up to make some apple juice to send to Ziyue and the others in the apple orchard. The next day, in Ponyville, at Hongxing Shanshan's general store. Old man, can I buy a copy of those photos from yesterday? Yunbao whispered to Hongxing Shanshan. Chapter 7. Gilda the Griffin. Today is a good day. A really good day. Chia was happily wandering around the town. In the past few days, Chia had been playing with Ziyue and the others. During these days in Ponyville, Chia had gotten to know these 6 outstanding young ponies pretty well. Applejack was hospitable, but cared a lot about her image, easily getting stuck in her ways and very stubborn. Jinchi had a gentle personality and was meticulous, but sometimes would get lost in her own matters and overlook others. Yunbao was lively and cheerful, but liked to show off and was quite mischievous. Ruru was timid but careful, gentle in her actions and caring, though sometimes extreme in certain aspects. As for Beaky, she was probably a mix of quantum entanglement and the superposition of 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional states. It couldn't be observed from a 2-dimensional perspective. Ziyue was serious in her work, had a gentle personality, and was very thoughtful. But she basically had the flaws of the other 5, somewhat like a composite of them, and when she went wild, she could be even more abstract than the rest. According to her father, this kind of abstract thinking was contagious and was said to be called Twilight Madness. Hey Chia, have you seen Yunbao? Suddenly, Beaky jumped out from Chia's mane. No, I haven't seen Yunbao today. What do you need her for? Chia asked. Beaky bounced as she walked, saying, I have something important to do with Yunbao. I won't disturb her. I'm off. See you later, Chia. Watching Beaky bounce away, Chia felt puzzled. It really couldn't be blamed on her father being old-fashioned. With Beaky, who could understand what they were thinking day by day. After walking to Hongxing Shanshan's general store, Chia reported the recent progress of the work. The above report reflects the pony's preferences. But we still haven't figured out why your father is seen as the ultimate being among the younger generation. From the information gathered from Applejack and Yunbao, it seems related to certain matters, but what it is might be because I'm not familiar enough with them. They basically refuse to talk about it, but in most ponies' eyes, you are viewed as a very serious and cold pony, and the younger ponies are afraid to make mistakes or accidentally mess up in front of you. After looking at a few reports, Hongxing Shanshan fell into deep thought. Serious? Cold? What the heck? Hongxing Shanshan thought these were rumors, pure rumors. He was just soft-spoken and expressionless, preferring quiet over activity. Who doesn't know that he is a warm-hearted pony, always willing to help? He was like this 70 or 80 years ago, and no one was afraid of him. It was the same back then. Why are these young ponies afraid of him now? How overly sensitive could they be? Hongxing Shanshan was completely baffled. All right, you're doing a great job, Chia. Keep it up. Chia was very happy to receive her father's recognition of her work and bounced away like Beaky. After putting away the stack of reports, Hongxing Shanshan sighed helplessly. That damn poker face. In Ponyville streets, Chia was heading towards the Golden Oak Library because she had promised Ziyue a couple of days ago to help her study and analyze some rare magic. As for why Ziyue needed a Pegasus like Chia to help, it was thanks to Chia's agent abilities, which included knowledge of many magical skills, plus her status as a traveler pony, which made it easy for Ziyue to ask for her help. Chia thought, these are essential skills for an agent, no big deal. Suddenly, it started pouring rain from the sky, and Chia became drenched. This took Chia completely by surprise. Wait a minute. Didn't the weather forecast say no rain for these days? Where is this rain coming from? Wiping the rain off her face and looking around, She realized that it was only raining in this small area. When Xia looked up, she saw a cloud hovering right over her head. Ha! Laughter came from both the cloud above her head and a nearby wooden barrel, as Yunbao laughed from the sky, while Beaky jumped out of the barrel. Do you like this prank? Beaky bounced around with a big smile. Xia looked at the two of them in silence. Alright, looks like you don't really like it. Bye. Xia. Beaky and Yunbao dashed away in a flash. Shaking off the water on her body, Xia exhaled lightly and decided not to pay attention to these two troublemakers. This little prank wouldn't dampen her mood. She still needed to help Ziyue. Along the way, she greeted many of the new pony residents and trotted to Ziyue's house. After feeding Suilong a gemstone, she began studying some rare magic with Ziyue. The principle of this magic is like this, no wonder it's so rare. It belongs to a branch of spells in the magical system, but the casting method requires relying on external objects to gather magical power. I've only seen this type of magic in the magical writings of Whitebeard Star Xian. It's indeed not a magic used by unicorns or ponies. Just as Ziyue and Xia were engrossed in their discussion, suddenly, a loud bang came from the balcony, directly interrupting their academic research. The two ponies quickly went to see what had happened. But as the research progressed, suddenly something fell off. The few lines of writing she had just penned vanished as she turned her head. Just as Ziyue was bewildered, she noticed something was off with the ink bottle. Laughter echoed from outside the window, and when Xia looked over, there they were again. Beaky and Yunbao, those two troublemakers were at it again. Xia felt a bit speechless, but Ziyue didn't mind. Instead, she found it quite amusing. If only a few lines disappeared, it wasn't a big deal. But if several pages of writing had vanished, Ziyue would have gone mad. Once the two lively ones sneaked away laughing, Xia and Ziyue continued their magic research. That day passed just like that. The next morning, Xia, as usual, strolled around Ponyville. The photography industry in Ponyville wasn't thriving, and there weren't many ponies who liked to take pictures every day, so Xia had plenty of free time. However, today a new character, the Griffin Gilda, appeared in Ponyville. According to the information Xia had, griffins were selfish and greedy creatures. But the pink griffin that showed up today seemed uninterested in money and was even friends with Yunbao. She was a real oddball among griffins, which piqued Xia's curiosity. So he decided to investigate. He then witnessed trampoline Beaky, flying balloon Beaky, and helicopter bicycle Beaky. Of course, he took pictures. In the end, Gilda broke Beaky's flying bicycle, causing her to fall from the sky, and Xia had to rush to rescue Beaky, putting his observations of the griffin on hold. Just as he was about to rush in to save her, he saw Beaky's tail spinning like a helicopter as she fell freely. And then she gently descended until she landed safely. Is it really possible to do that? Xia was left speechless. After Beaky landed, she looked quite angry, closed Xia's dropped jaw with a hoof, and dragged him straight to the Golden Oak Library. They arrived at the library in a flash. Beaky kicked the door open and appeared in front of Ziyue, launching into a tirade about Gilda's misdeeds. While talking, Beaky rummaged through Xia's belongings and pulled out a few photos he had taken earlier, scattering them on the table to show Ziyue, who was utterly confused. Gilda is so evil. She's the worst griffin I've ever seen, even though I haven't seen any others. She's just terrible, huh? Just as Beaky continued her noisy complaints, Xia spoke up. Well, to be fair, from what I observed, Gilda is actually one of the more easygoing griffins. Ziyue realized, right? Xia loves adventure and travel. He must know more about griffins than we do. Plus, from what you said, Beaky, I can sense that Gilda might not be as bad as you think. Maybe we should listen to what Xia has to say. Beaky was still a bit unconvinced. Clearing his throat, Xia began to introduce the griffins. Griffins have the body of a lion and the head of an eagle. They are omnivorous creatures. This species values honor and strength. They aren't skilled in magic. The Griffin Kingdom is located east of Ponyville, with its capital at Griffinstone. It used to be a very prosperous city, but due to certain events, the kingdom began to decline, losing its pursuit of honor and developing an insatiable desire for money. Over the years, griffins have become selfish and indifferent to the feelings of others, including their own families. So the concept of friendship has virtually vanished in today's Griffin Kingdom. Ziyue found it hard to believe what Xia was saying and couldn't even imagine how such social dynamics could persist among the griffins. Beaky, on the other hand, had a calm expression, neither happy nor sad, resembling a serene bodhisattva with a big halo behind her head. In other words, Gilda might have grown up with different ideas than our ponies, leading to a different way of interacting with others. Moreover, Gilda likely felt out of place among the griffins. In my view, Gilda probably sees Beaky as someone stealing her few, perhaps only, friends. Her behavior is just jealousy. So it's normal for her to act that way toward you. After losing her head, Beaky furrowed her brow in thought, then widened her eyes, teary-eyed. So, Gilda is actually quite pitiful. At this moment, Ziwa also suggested to Beaky, perhaps we could try to understand Gilda. Chapter 8. New friend Gilda. Gilda the Griffin was wandering around Ponyville. At this time, she had temporarily parted ways with Yunbao, as Yunbao also had her own privacy and things to do. With nothing to do, Gilda looked around and spotted Granny Smith selling apples at a stall. Suddenly, an idea struck her. Gilda quietly approached the apple stall, avoiding Apple Bloom, who was helping out, and slowly maneuvered her tail out from under the stall, trying to disguise it as a snake to scare Granny Smith. Smack! Ow! Hiss! Ouch, that hurts. Granny Smith directly whacked Gilda's tail with a fly swatter, causing it to glow red. Respect your elders, young lady. Back in my day, I wielded guns, fought off zombie ponies, and traveled from Ponyville to Canterlot without batting an eye. Do you really think this little trick can scare me? Gilda was stunned by Granny Smith's response and instinctively asked, are your eyes dry? Granny Smith gave her a look that said, what do you think? And ignored Gilda afterward. This place is really strange. Gilda left feeling dejected, and her desire for fun was completely gone. Ugh. While waiting for Yunbao and getting bored, Gilda randomly found a haystack, jumped onto it, and stared blankly at the clouds above. Hello, Gilda. Suddenly, Beaky popped out from the haystack, shouting, which startled Gilda and made her fall off the haystack, still clutching a handful of hay. Beaky, you little annoying Pegasi, what are you doing? Gilda got up, threw away the hay in her claws, and grabbed Beaky's mane, loudly questioning her. Beaky smiled and pulled out an invitation from her tail, shoving it into Gilda's hooves. To welcome you to Ponyville, I've organized a welcome party for you, so don't forget to come. Gilda, receiving the invitation she was forced into, wore a sulky expression, feeling speechless and annoyed. Just as she was about to tear the invitation apart, Beaky popped out from the haystack again, startling Gilda, causing her to lose her grip and let the invitation fly everywhere. Don't forget, Yunbao will be there too. Quickly grabbing the invitation, Gilda fell into deep thought. Maybe I should go check it out, just to see what these annoying Pegasi are up to. It's definitely not because Yunbao is going, absolutely not. After mulling it over for a while, Gilda decided to attend the party, just to give Yunbao face. Following the time and location on the invitation, Gilda arrived at the party venue, the candy house, right on time. Knock, knock, knock. Is Yunbao here? She knocked on the door, but there was no response from inside. Strange, did I walk to the wrong place? ISNT this were the note said. Could that annoying Beaky be trying to prank me? Gilda didn't care whether there were any ponies inside, and opened the door. It was dark inside, and she couldn't see her own hoof in front of her. Gilda felt a bit confused but still walked in. Click. After taking a few steps, the lights in the store suddenly turned on. Surprise. Gilda, led by Yunbao, 6 ponies, including Chiaha and others, warmly welcomed Gilda. Gilda was left in shock. She had never seen such a scene in her life. Yunbao suddenly hugged Jida and brought her to the big cake. Enjoy the party to the fullest, Jida. Beaky stuffed a cake fork into Jida's hand. This cake is specially made for griffins. Chiaha and Ziwa placed the gifts they prepared for Jida next to her. Should we open them? These gifts are specially prepared for you. Jida was momentarily taken aback. She looked around and then at Yunbao. What is going on? For a moment, Jida didn't know what to do and could only awkwardly unwrap the gift box. When she opened the gift box, Jida felt a bit flustered. Inside the box lay a golden necklace, and the pendant was a foldable mechanism that was open, revealing something facing her. It was 2 photos, one of Jida and the other of Yunbao, with the inscription on the back of the pendant reading our friendship until eternity. Drip. A tear rolled down her cheek and landed on the pendant. Jida, why are you crying? Is it because you don't like this pendant? If you don't like it, I can change it to something you like. Yunbao's face was filled with anxiety, completely not understanding why Jida was crying. Jida suddenly hugged Yunbao tightly. Thank you. Holding Yunbao, Jida felt incredibly moved. Don't cry, Jida. If you really don't like this pendant, we can still change it. Yunbao gently patted her back, trying to comfort her. Jida wiped her tears and happily said to Yunbao, Thank you, Yunbao. I really like this pendant. Thank you for your gift. Yunbao shyly scratched her head. I'm glad you like it, but this pendant was made by Beaky with Chia. Yunbao pointed at Beaky, who was wide-eyed and full of anticipation. Wait, it was prepared by Beaky? I can't believe it. Jida felt a little touched. Beaky bounced around, smiling as she said, The photos on it are ones Yunbao has kept all along. I just organized this party and made this cake. Chia nodded and said, I hope you like my craftsmanship. At that moment, Ziwa walked over. If possible, would you like to be friends with us? Like Yunbao. Jida was extremely excited. Friends. Yes, friends. Beaky was overjoyed and immediately hugged Jida, Yunbao, and Xiehe, bouncing around. Yay, we have a new friend. Suilong walked over with a drink in hand, cheerfully saying, "Since that's the case, let us all celebrate." The atmosphere became joyful, celebrating the arrival of a new friend. As night fell, Biki pulled Yunbao, Chiaha, and Jida to sleep together at Zu's house. To be honest, for Jida, today was a wonderful day. She had new friends, and all the little ponies here welcomed her and were willing to accept her. Although some ponies were a bit strange, it was still nice, wasn't it? The moonlight, like a light veil, streamed through the window, gently falling into the room. The silvery light cast a faint silver glow over the entire room. Where the moonlight touched, it was dreamlike. Lying in her sleeping bag, Jida looked at Biki, who was sleeping in a peculiar manner, and then at Yunbao, whose sleeping posture was just as odd. Jida's lips slightly curled up. Gently extending her hand, she tenderly stroked the golden pendant that reflected the moonlight on her neck, and Jida gradually fell into a dream. Chapter 9 Extra, Zombie Pony Crisis 1. Ponyville 50 years ago. At this time, Ponyville was thriving and entering a period of economic development, with many new ponies from outside becoming new members of Ponyville. Products from big cities also began to circulate at this time. But the Apple family and the Pear family started to have friction, as both sides wanted to advance further into the fruit market and expand their industry scale. However, this had nothing to do with Hongxing Shanshan, who, although a member of the Apple family, had long since not participated in the apple orchard industry and opened a grocery store. Moreover, as long as it wasn't a big deal, Smith wouldn't ask him for help, and he was happily enjoying a leisurely life. Just then, the grocery store of Hongxing Shanshan received a new shipment of goods, said to be fashionable new items sold in Manhattan. Although Hongxing Shanshan couldn't understand what was so good about these things, the young ponies loved them. The goods were placed on the shelves, and it was a new day. Just as Hongxing Shanshan was reading a fashion magazine in the grocery store, a young yellow pony suddenly burst into the store. "Hello, Mayor Applejack, what do you want to buy?" Hongxing Shanshan continued looking at the magazine. "Uncle Hongxing, something big has happened." Applejack appeared extremely flustered. "Let us go." Hongxing Shanshan quickly put down the magazine and followed Applejack. The ponies were gathered at the town gate, and Hongxing Shanshan arrived here as well. There, a white circular portal abruptly appeared on the ground. It was this portal that suddenly appeared, and several ponies from the town fell into it, their fates unknown. Hongxing Shanshan approached the portal and lowered his head to carefully observe the strange white circle. Familiar. Far too familiar. The Wi-Fi created with my own hooves was taken away by this thing. Suddenly, the portal began to act up. "All ponies, get away from here. Quick!" Hongxing Shanshan shouted urgently. The ponies didn't hesitate and turned to run. But unfortunately, the portal suddenly shone, and the light enveloped the entire Ponyville. The light beam caught the attention of Princess Celestia, who was far away in Canterlot. She walked to the castle balcony and gazed at the light beam with a slightly serious expression. A crossworld and uncontrollable summoning spell. It seems to carry a chaotic aura, but it's different from disorder. In addition, there are traces of another time-traveling magic and the aura of an unknown celestial being. Princess Celestia muttered to herself. "I fear the arrivals are not friendly." With a flap of her wings, Princess Celestia sped toward Ponyville. When the light beam disappeared, Princess Celestia arrived at Ponyville a moment too late. The entire town was empty, as if everyone had vanished into thin air. Back at Hongxing Shanshan's side, the blinding light gradually faded, and the ponies could finally open their eyes. But as they looked around, the sky seemed to be covered with clouds, blocking the sun, revealing only a sky shrouded in strange yellow clouds, resembling the end of the world. The ponies surveyed their surroundings and found themselves still in Ponyville. But it seemed different from the original Ponyville, more prosperous than before. Just as the ponies were puzzled, Mrs. Smith noticed something unusual. "Hey everyone, look over here. There's a Pegasus lying on the ground." Hearing Smith shout, the ponies looked over. Indeed, a purple filly lay on the ground, motionless. Hongxing Shanshan hurried over, placing his hoof on the pony's neck to check for a pulse. There was nothing serious, just exhaustion from overexertion. As Hongxing Shanshan used his magic to levitate the purple pony, he noticed her adorable features. As the pony was completely lifted by the levitation spell, her horn, covered by her mane, came into view. "Oh my gosh, she's a celestial pony. She's a celestial pony." The ponies felt disbelief and astonishment. In the residents' understanding, they only knew that Princess Celestia was a celestial pony and had only heard of her. Suddenly encountering a celestial pony they had never seen or heard of was like overturning their worldview. Meanwhile, Hongxing Shanshan had almost recognized who this pony was. It turned out to be Ziyue, which he didn't expect. According to the timeline, Ziyue's parents hadn't even been born yet, so why was she here? Soon after, Mayor Via issued tasks, assigning some ponies to observe the terrain of Ponyville, others to watch the situation outside Ponyville, and the remaining ponies to gather food, medicine, and other supplies in Ponyville. With tasks assigned, the ponies were no longer in a state of panic and began to execute their tasks in an orderly manner. After Ziyue was placed on a bed in the nearest pony house by Hongxing Shanshan, he fell into deep thought. After many years, seeing that halo again, he had investigated a lot of data related to it over the years. The power of the white halo was very similar to teleportation magic, but there were significant differences. It resembled an alternative summoning magic, or rather, a form of coercive summoning magic. The problem lay here. There was no trace of time in this magic. But summoning magic couldn't directly cross time to summon. Therefore, there was only one possibility. We may have been collectively teleported to another world. As soon as Hongxing Shanshan spoke, all the ponies were shocked. Smith walked over and asked, "Are you saying this isn't our original Ponyville?" Dolly was panicking, spinning in place. "If it's not ours, then how do we end up here? Look around. It's overcast, and there isn't a single pony. It's too eerie." Suddenly, shouts from pony residents outside interrupted the discussion among the older ponies in Ponyville. "There are monsters. Pony monsters are approaching the town." Hongxing Shanshan used magic to teleport outside in an instant. "What is happening?" The pony who shouted was one of the ponies responsible for observing the anomalies outside Ponyville. Seeing Hongxing Shanshan suddenly appear, he quickly handed him a telescope and pointed toward a distant figure. Picking up the telescope and looking in the direction the observing pony was pointing, indeed, there were a vast number of rotting bodies, revealing stark white bones, moving slowly and walking in a crooked, eerie manner, approaching the town. The change in atmosphere was like a shift from a 2D to a 3D world. Hongxing Shanshan quickly issued commands. The ponies acted swiftly, all gathering at the center of the town and blocking the main routes and visible small paths and alleys. Ziyue was naturally moved to the town center as well. The ponies gathered in the town center formed orderly lines to receive various weapons from Hongxing Shanshan, such as submachine guns and catapults. With weapons in hand, the ponies divided into different teams. Those with submachine guns guarded the blocked alleys, on the lookout for those eerie ponies. The catapults were set up on the main road as long-range projectile weapons to launch explosives, while cannons served as mobile firepower to support any areas under heavy attack. Ultimately, these weapons were still insufficient. They should have prepared more. Hongxing Shanshan still felt uneasy. This inexplicable sense of crisis did not stem from the overwhelming eerie ponies, but rather from the entire world. He could feel the world was filled with malice toward the living. Smith, holding a revolver in each hoof, approached the frowning Hongxing Shanshan and asked, "Aren't we going a bit too far?" Hongxing Shanshan glanced at Smith and calmly replied, "I can feel that something is very wrong here. There could be life-threatening dangers at any moment. I even think our armament might not be enough. We still don't know what those eerie ponies are. And our top priority is to ensure our safety." So, Smith switched his revolvers for 2 submachine guns. At this moment, Dolly came over with a pony. The pony was one of those responsible for searching for supplies. "There's not a single thing to eat in the town. We searched everywhere. And there are hardly any hay bales left." This news was bad for the ponies. Hongxing Shanshan remained calm. He conjured a magic book, flipped through it, and gently tapped a page. Suddenly, a sparkling effect appeared on the nearby ground, and a bizarre creature resembling a mushroom, about the size of 2 ponies, emerged from the effect. Mambo. This mushroom creature made a strangely cute sound and greeted Hongxing Shanshan. Seeing that it was a creature summoned by Hongxing Shanshan, Smith boldly approached the mushroom creature, inspecting it closely, and even took a lick, smacking his lips. It seemed the taste wasn't good. Mayor Via saw the commotion and also walked over, looking at the mushroom creature with confusion. She instinctively scratched her chin and asked, "What is this big mushroom?" "It's called a mushroom monster. Consider it my pet. It can temporarily solve our food problem." Smith thought for a moment and confirmed that he had never seen this mushroom monster before. "When did you get this pet? Can it help us find food?" The mushroom monster also called out Mambo, shrinking its body and releasing a large amount of green spores. These spores fell to the ground, and soon, adorable little mushroom creatures began to sprout up. Dolly joked, "So what are they good for? You can't be saying the food is these little hopping creatures?" Smith looked a bit stunned, his face falling, feeling a bit difficult to digest. How could he eat such cute little creatures that were still moving? "Are you sure you're not joking?" The situation of the ponies was somewhat like Tang Sung facing the ginseng fruit in Wuzhuang Temple. Only these were moving ginseng fruits. Hongxing Shanshan said no more, extending his right hoof. A little mushroom bounced onto his hoof, and he picked it up and took a bite, as if eating a juicy fruit. In 3 or 4 bites, the little mushroom was consumed. They tasted very similar to apples, with a complex flavor of apple, pineapple, and grape. They weren't living creatures, just moving mushrooms, so they could be eaten with peace of mind. The ponies looked at each other in surprise. Smith swallowed hard, slowly extending his hoof, and a little mushroom jumped onto it. Looking at the cute little mushroom on his hoof, Smith steeled himself, opening his mouth and slowly bringing the little mushroom closer. It seemed the little mushroom was impatient with Smith's slowness, and with a little bounce, it jumped right into Smith's mouth. This startled Smith, and with a crisp crunch, he bit down on the little mushroom, and juice flowed into his mouth. The unique flavor made Smith pause, and he couldn't help but start chewing. His expression lit up, sparkling with excitement. This taste was unexpectedly good. Smith quickly adapted, feeling no aversion, picking up the bitten little mushroom and continuing to eat. In just a few bites, he finished it off, with a lead taster. Some brave ponies also tried eating a few bites, and gradually, the other ponies no longer felt uneasy. Mambo, Mambo. The mushroom monster was very happy that the little mushrooms it created were liked by everyone, and it kept calling out Mambo. Now that the food problem was solved, everyone could focus on dealing with the monsters outside. Present were Mayor Vaya, Dolly, Smith, and other ponies, who took the little mushrooms to the defense line, while Hongxing Shanshan stayed in the room to watch over Ziyue. Seeing that only he and Ziyue were there, Hongxing Shanshan went up to the attic and pulled out the magic book again. Opening the magic book, he tapped 5 times, and 5 sparkling effects appeared. As the effects faded, 5 figures stood in place. "Boss, why did you call us out?" A panda with a Sichuan accent put down the bamboo in its hands and asked, "Iron-eating beast, don't be rude. The master summoned us here for a reason." A dark-colored, red-eyed, and red-winged dragon horse scolded the panda nearby. "Old Iron, Old Dragon, can you two stop arguing as soon as you meet? The important matters are at hand." A big white rabbit, about the size of an ordinary pony, with bright white fur and red eyes, spoke up to mediate. "Sigh, the adults are still here. Let's just listen to the jade rabbit." A male horse with a light yellow body, purple mane, a horn, and wings, resembling a celestial unicorn, wore a helpless expression. "Leo, jade rabbit, there's no need to mind them. Let's first listen to the adults' arrangements." A female celestial unicorn, completely snow white with a golden mane, a voice as pleasant as silver bells, a horn, and golden wings, resembling a cosmic princess, shook her head, indicating she was used to it. "This time, the situation is urgent. Calling all 5 of you out is due to a potential enemy so powerful that I can't even imagine." Upon hearing this, the panda, rabbit, dragon horse, and the others all looked serious. If Red Star Shining said this, it meant the enemy they were facing this time was strong enough that all 5 of them could potentially be wiped out. "Boss, which ancestor should we take down first?" The panda Iron Eater clenched his fists, looking ready to spring into action. Red Star Shining shook his head. "There's no rush. Before that, we need to wait for a pony to wake up." Chapter 10. Trixie's Challenge. Hawthorn, Pear, Cherry, and Orange, all put together. Today is a good day. The brand new multifunctional camera I just bought has arrived, and I'm so happy that the eggplant box is bouncing with joy. Suddenly, everything went dark as a white cloth covered the eggplant box's head. "Ha, that's so funny. Ha ha." The eggplant box quickly pulled the white cloth off its face, and upon seeing who it was, exclaimed, "Good heavens, Gilda, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie are at it again with their pranks." Well, it's no surprise, since in Ponyville, only the 3 of them would do such things. They've even named their group the Mischief Brigade, which has struck fear into the hearts of Ponyville residents. The eggplant box looked speechlessly at the 3 pranksters, watching them laugh quietly. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes passed. 1 hour passed. The eggplant box took the 3 to the hospital. They were laughing so hard they couldn't close their jaws. Just as they exited the hospital, they saw many ponies rushing toward the town center. "What happened?" the eggplant box asked. Pinkie Pie bounced around and said, "There must be a pony doing a magic show in the town center." Gilda looked at Rainbow Dash with a puzzled expression. "Does Pinkie always speak so confidently?" Rainbow Dash replied helplessly, "Let's just go see for ourselves." With a goal in mind, the 4 ponies followed the crowd to the town center. Upon arriving, they indeed found a unicorn performing a magic show, just as Pinkie had said. "How did you know?" Gilda was quite surprised. It was like she had foreseen it. Intuition. Although she didn't understand, Gilda didn't press further. After all, who could understand Pinkie Pie? However, this magician, who constantly claimed to be the greatest and most versatile Trixie, was starting to annoy Gilda. "What a show-off. She is more arrogant than me," Gilda muttered sarcastically. Soon, many Ponyville residents gathered in the town center to watch the spectacle. After looking around, the only ones missing were Fluttershy and Red Star Shining. All the familiar ponies were present. "What a braggart. My high-end blow dryer can't blow as much as she does." Rarely could anyone stand such a pompous pony. Just as Swaylong was about to chime in with Rarely's opinion, he suddenly covered his mouth mid-sentence and ran off, muttering something about mustaches. On the other hand, Zua found it somewhat acceptable and felt indifferent. However, Applejack expressed that while a little bragging was okay, constantly boasting was rude. The eggplant box looked disdainfully at Trixie, who was chattering away on stage. The greatest and most versatile? Who can compare to her father? The eggplant box thought to herself. Rainbow Dash watched Trixie's performance with an amused attitude. When it came to stealing the spotlight, who could outshine her? The crowd murmured loudly, directly causing Trixie to break down. All right. I want to see who dares to challenge the greatest and most versatile Trixie's magical abilities. Trixie could no longer continue her performance. She directly issued a challenge and even set off some fireworks to enhance the atmosphere. Rainbow Dash couldn't take it any longer and flew in front of her, asking, "So, the greatest and most versatile Trixie, what makes you think you're so amazing?" Trixie glanced at Rainbow Dash and then let out a low laugh. That's because only the greatest and most versatile Trixie can defeat the Constellation Bear with her powerful magic. The more Trixie spoke, the more hyped she became, and when she mentioned defeating the big bear, she even released fireworks shaped like the bear behind her to boost the atmosphere. Whoa, that's awesome! The ponies below exclaimed. Among them were Snip and Snail, two underdogs who had been completely swayed by Trixie's charm and had started to idolize her. Seeing the support from the crowd, Trixie confidently began to spin a made-up story. The fireworks in the sky changed with Trixie's narration, depicting the scene of her defeating the Constellation Bear. One had to admit, Trixie's fireworks magic was indeed impressive. Snip and Snail exclaimed, "Wow, amazing." Of course, aside from these two, almost no other ponies believed what she was saying. They just feigned interest and watched the spectacle unfold. Seeing that the crowd was not convinced, Trixie confidently addressed the ponies. "All right, I accept your challenge. Whatever you can do, I can do better." The ponies below had no reaction. No one. Am I, Trixie, destined to be the greatest and most versatile unicorn in history? At this moment, Swaylong directly climbed onto Zua's neck, shaking her head frantically and pleading with her. "Please, I can't take it anymore. You have to show her who the real magic master is." Zua, feeling dizzy from the shaking, finally used magic to lift Swaylong off her neck. When Zua regained her composure and was about to speak, Trixie pointed at her. You. Name something you can do that the greatest and most versatile Trixie cannot." Zua was taken aback and felt conflicted, wanting to refuse. Nearby, Applejack couldn't stand it either and volunteered to take up the challenge. Applejack showcased her impressive skills. She truly knew how to handle the reins, but Trixie used magic to bind Applejack into a caterpillar and stuffed an apple into her mouth. Next up was Rainbow Dash, whose cool flying skills were unmatched. She created a rainbow effect, and the eggplant box thought it was necessary to learn a few tricks. However, Trixie used magic to disorient Rainbow Dash with the rainbow effect, and Gilda rushed to catch her, glaring angrily at Trixie. Seeing her friends defeated, Rarely felt angry. She stepped onto the stage and, under the gaze of the ponies, transformed herself into a beautiful gown using a curtain. She confidently said, "Unicorns need more than just muscles. They must also possess beauty and grace." Trixie smirked and replied, "Really? I don't believe it." With a wave of her magic, Rarely's hair turned into a green mess. Green hair. No. Terrifying green, terrifying color. Trixie had perfectly broken Rarely's confidence, and she ran away crying. However, a nearby green-haired little pony, Carrot Top, felt offended. The eggplant box also wanted to step up, but she suddenly realized that this so-called challenge had completely shifted its meaning. Originally, Trixie was supposed to prove her powerful abilities, but it turned into a situation where they had to prove that Trixie did not possess great abilities. Although Trixie seemed a bit carried away by her consecutive victories, her thought process was very well grasped. To be fair, if this guy had a better attitude, she really looked like a master magician. Once her thoughts were sorted out, He couldn't help but smile and came up with a plan. So, she slowly walked up to the stage and casually said to Trixie, "The performance was passable, but being great and all-powerful is a bit much. In this Ponyville, there is one thing that none of us ponies can accomplish. If you can do it, then I will admit that you, Trixie, are great and all-powerful. What do you say? Do you dare to accept the challenge? The great and all-powerful Trixie will prove her strength. Tell me, what is the challenge?" Trixie was already feeling high on herself and saw all the ponies in front of her as nothing special. Victory seemed to be within her grasp. "Beaky!" He shouted. "Got it." He, Red Star Shining, who was holding a newspaper, slowly asked, "What am I doing here? Wasn't I just in the store?" Red Star Shining looked around and then down at herself. "Oh, it's Beaky, Then it's fine. Red Star Shining continued to read the newspaper, ignoring the situation at the venue. And Beaky gently placed Red Star Shining on the ground. Trixie was a bit confused. She didn't understand how Beaky managed to pull Red Star Shining out and why she did it. Trixie only knew that the moment Red Star Shining appeared, the surrounding ponies didn't dare to breathe, and it was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Okay, Beaky is playing with needles. Cough, cough. As long as you can make Red Star Shining laugh, then you are truly the great and all-powerful Trixie. Gasp. A group of ponies collectively gasped, contributing to the warmth of all ponies in Ponyville. Chapter 11. Friendship that changes fate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ponyville Challenge, the impossible competition. After many years, this challenge has welcomed a challenger again. Let's warmly welcome the great and all-powerful unicorn magician, Trixie. Beaky took out a microphone and transformed into the host of the event. While the ponies clapped half-heartedly, it seemed that everyone was not too optimistic about Trixie, except for Wulong Feng Snip and Snail, who were already raising banners and cheering for her. The challenge Trixie chose was to make Red Star Shining laugh. As soon as Beaky said this, it stirred the entire Ponyville, with everyone from the cake couple in town to the mayor, and even Rarity and Granny Smith, who were sunbathing in the orchard. Coming to the center of Ponyville. The current center of Ponyville was bustling with activity, with ponies everywhere, both on the ground and in the air. Oh ho ho! Let me see who wants to cure Uncle Red Star's facial paralysis, exclaimed Granny Smith, smiling as she looked at the stage in the town center, wanting to see who the master was. Look, it's her, said Macintosh, pointing to the bewildered Trixie on stage. Now Trixie sensed something was off. It seemed she had stirred up something significant. She had never seen so many spectators in her life. There was a problem, a big problem. Trixie felt a bit uneasy. She was indeed impulsive. Under the gaze of so many ponies, Trixie forced a smile, swallowed hard, and looked at the cold-faced unicorn in front of her. The invisible aura of the unicorn named Red Star Shining made her feel inexplicably afraid, and her gaze was extremely cold and sharp, making her dare not meet Red Star Shining's eyes. The cold expression, like ancient ice, along with the high-pressure aura, left her without a shred of courage. I'm sorry for interrupting the great and all-powerful Trixie's magic. In her nervousness, her magic became unstable. Trixie regretted it immensely. The gazes of the ponies present brought her an invisible immense pressure. Suddenly, overwhelmed with tension, she couldn't bear it anymore and fainted with a loud thud, her colors already fading. Alas, such a pity, Trixie has failed the challenge. I hereby announce the unfortunate end of the 28th challenge, the impossible, in Ponyville. Beaky looked at the stage with regret, helplessly announcing the result. Upon seeing Trixie fail the challenge, the spectators dispersed. This made Rainbow Dash very happy. But she laughed too hard. Snap, my jaw won't close again. Ha ha ha. Now it's time for the hospital registration for 2. Gilda couldn't help but laugh, of course, supporting her chin to avoid dislocating it. The scene shifted, and Xiao He and Red Star Shining had already arrived at Ponyville Hospital. The ponies gathered around a bed, whispering, "Is Trixie okay? It's my first time seeing a pony scared to the point of losing their color. I used to think that losing color from fear was just an exaggerated expression." Purple Joy was a bit worried about Trixie. It was indeed shocking to see her faint like that, especially when her color turned into a puddle on the ground. Beaky, with a hoof around Purple Joy's neck, was completely unconcerned about such issues. What's this? Compared to the previous 27 challengers, Trixie has been scared the least. I still remember the 8th Ponyville Challenge contestant in the archives, who was scared to pieces. Beaky felt that just saying it might not be enough, so she decided to demonstrate. Let me show you like this. Splash. Beaky transformed into a scattered version of herself. Purple Joy was shocked, while the others seemed to have little reaction, indicating they were already used to it. Beaky became serious for a second. After Red Star Shining finished reading Trixie's medical record, her gaze fell on Xiao He and Beaky, who were trying to sneak away while she was reading. Xiao He. Beaky, Red Star Shining said calmly. In an instant, Xiao He and Beaky seemed to be named by death, frozen in place, as if petrified. Xiao He, looking nervous, said Beaky, covered in cold sweat, said wait until Trixie wakes up and apologize properly. Once this was said, Xiao He and Beaky finally breathed a sigh of relief. Also, write a reflection of 10,000 words and submit it to me within a week. Xiao He and Beaky were initially petrified. No. Snowflakes fluttered, the north wind howled, and the world was a vast expanse of gray. Who turned on the music? Purple Joy looked around and immediately saw Sui Long holding a portable player. I think this song fits the atmosphere well. Sui Long thought it was about time and turned off the music. The noisy sounds woke Trixie from her sleep. What happened to me? Trixie held her forehead, feeling a bit dazed. Wait, why has my color turned white? Trixie saw her hooves and looked at herself, falling into shock. Suddenly, Beaky flashed over with a bottle of blue liquid and directly poured it into Trixie's mouth, leaving not a single drop behind. Trixie returned to normal. Once Trixie realized she was in the hospital and saw the earlier ponies by her bedside, especially the one that scared her color away, Red Star Shining. She felt relieved to see that Trixie was in good spirits. Red Star Shining then recited the diagnosis on the medical record again to Trixie. After hearing what Red Star Shining had read to her, Trixie completely lost her previous arrogant and conceited demeanor and became quiet and gentle, just like an ordinary girl. Red Star Shining spoke again. "Little girl, would you like to chat with us?" Although Red Star Shining still had a cold face, she gave Trixie the feeling of a stern yet gentle elder. After looking at Red Star Shining and then at the 6 of them around her, Trixie slowly let out a sigh of relief and began to open her heart, recounting her past. Through Trixie's narration, the other ponies learned about her history. It turned out that Trixie was born into a single-parent family and was raised by her mother. She had never seen her father since birth and only knew from her mother that he was an excellent magician. Trixie inherited her father's talent for magic, but her mother worked hard to raise her. When she grew up, her mother sent her to a magic school to learn magic. She worked hard and was earnest, but it seemed that fate did not favor her efforts. In terms of magic, she had extremely poor talent and had always been at the bottom of her class since the start of school. Her classmates isolated and bullied her, even insulting her, saying she was a bastard without a father, and the most despicable thing was that they insulted her mother. Unable to bear it, she fought back against the other ponies, and as a result, she was expelled from school. Gradually, after numerous episodes of self-hypnosis, Trixie began to become arrogant. Whenever she performed, she would immerse herself in the fantasy of being the greatest and most powerful magician, which caused her psychological issues. This made the ponies who once enjoyed her performances start to dislike her and stop watching her shows. However, immersed in her fantasy of being the greatest, she was no longer aware of her problems, which led to her becoming the kind of pony that others disliked, and her wandering became more frequent, up until now. Applejack was surprised to learn about Trixie's past and understood why she was the way she was. Cloud Chaser, with her jaw bandaged, looked at Gilda and then at Trixie in the hospital bed, and remarked, "You two really have a lot in common." Gilda agreed with Cloud Chaser's words and empathized with Trixie's experience. Rarity was no longer angry about her hair. Now, she was filled with compassion. Meanwhile, Pinky was crying so much that it felt like the hospital room was about to flood, and the others didn't know where to pull the plug to let the water out. "Trixie, would you like to be our friend?" This question from Twilight surprised Trixie, who instinctively pointed at herself with her hoof. "Me?" Twilight nodded. "But don't you hate me? Don't you think I'm very arrogant and rude? That I talk big? That I—" Twilight quickly grabbed Trixie's hoof to interrupt her impulse to continue, looking at her with gentle eyes and slowly saying, "Trixie, would you like to be our friend?" Trixie was momentarily speechless. Aye. Applejack helplessly interjected. "Just answer if you want to be friends with us. Give us a clear answer." The other ponies also looked at Trixie. A tear rolled down the corner of Trixie's eye, falling onto the blanket, and her choked throat couldn't hide her overwhelming happiness. "I would love to. Thank you all. Thank you, my friends." Trixie was already filled with tears of joy. The ponies embraced each other and laughed. Suddenly, the ground shook, causing the ponies to rush to the windows and doors to check what was happening. They discovered that a constellation bear had appeared in Ponyville, frightening the residents into fleeing their homes. Red Star Shining was also awakened by the commotion, looking out the window at the constellation bear chasing 2 ponies, and sighed in exasperation. Ponyville really is full of disasters. Chapter 12. Applejack picked up the title and put it under the table corner. A few days later, finally finished. So tired. 2 unicorns, one tall and thin, the other short and chubby, collapsed together. They were Snips and Snails. These 2 thought it was reasonable that Trixie couldn't handle Red Star Shining. As in the eyes of the younger generation in Ponyville, blowing up the whole town was easier than making Red Star Shining smile. However, they also thought it was reasonable for Trixie to handle the constellation bear, of course, due to their insufficient understanding of the constellation bear. So one night, they stayed up late to wake up the constellation bear cub and led it to town, causing chaos. Unfortunately, Trixie's little trailer couldn't be saved and was crushed by the constellation bear cub. The trailer, Aminos. As a result, Snips and Snails were scolded by Red Star Shining. And then Twilight had them repair the damage done by the constellation bear and Trixie's trailer. After this lesson, it was believed that these 2 unfortunate kids would reflect deeply on their actions and at least wouldn't do such stupid things again in the future. Today, the weather was clear and sunny, but unfortunately, unexpected clouds appeared and black smoke began to fill the sky. This black smoke spread like the darkness of Gatandra. covering the sky at a visibly rapid pace, and it wouldn't be long before it spread from one side of Ponyville to the other side of Canterlot. Red Star Shining looked at the sky outside the window, calm. He had seen much bigger scenes, and this little smoke didn't require him to take action. Sure enough, the 6 of them were already preparing their equipment and gathering in town, ready to deal with the situation. Of course, Red Star Shining also sent Trixie to assist them. Watching the 7 of them set off towards the mountain, Red Star Shining went to do his own thing, which was to enjoy a day of relaxation at the spa. Let's shift the scene back to the 6. At this moment, Trixie was a little nervous, as this time she was facing a full-grown dragon. Unlike the previous encounter with Nightmare Moon, where she just captured moments from a distance. However, compared to Fluttershy, her little nervousness was nothing. It must be said that Fluttershy was indeed too timid. Along the way, she had already hugged and broken 15 trees due to various sounds and movements. Bang! Alright, that was the 16th tree. Hugging trees to kill, this power was truly terrifying. Trixie naturally didn't forget to take pictures, as this was an important mission. Bang! The 17th tree. Aminos. Just when Twilight and the others were still on their way to the dragon's cave on the mountain, Pinkie suddenly felt a pull in her mane and looked puzzled. A few ponies saw Pinkie suddenly quiet down and asked in confusion, "What's wrong with Pinkie? Why did she stop?" Pinkie rubbed her chin, looking uncertain as if she was thinking. She blinked and, after failing to come up with anything, shook her head helplessly and said to Twilight and the others, "It's nothing. I just feel like something snuck into Ponyville. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Let us keep moving." Meanwhile, Trixie fell into deep thought. Could it be that Pinkie's Pinkie sense sensed something? Just as Pinkie said, an unexpected guest had indeed snuck into Ponyville. It stealthily made its way to Red Star Shining's general store and, taking advantage of Red Star Shining not being in the shop, stole something from the storage room on the 2nd floor. After a tough battle, Twilight and the others successfully moved the sleeping smoke-spewing dragon away, and the sky over Ponyville was clear once again. Upon returning to town, Pinkie immediately dragged Red Star Shining out of the spa and, accompanied by Twilight and the others, rushed to the storage room on the 2nd floor of Red Star Shining's general store. "I can feel that something has been stolen from here." After Pinkie said this, the confused Red Star Shining realized what was going on. After thinking carefully, he suddenly discovered that something was indeed missing. "Pinkie, how did you know something was stolen from here?" Twilight asked in surprise. "So, old man, do you remember what you originally had here? What was it for? Why would someone steal it? Is it important to you?" Applejack asked Red Star Shining with a puzzled expression. Red Star Shining didn't hide anything and simply stated the matter. "That was many years ago. I wonder if you have heard of parallel universes." "Parallel universes?" Ziyue was a bit surprised. She didn't expect this to involve parallel universes. Having read enough books to fill a library, Ziyue had come across relevant academic papers and books and had a certain understanding of parallel universes. The other 6 couldn't understand how this could be related to time and space. Hongxing Shanshan continued to explain. "It was about 50 years ago, back when Ponyville wasn't as big as it is now, and there weren't as many ponies. On that day, a strange force summoning spell transported all the ponies in Ponyville to another universe. That universe was very dangerous, shrouded in a terrible magic. 2/3 of the ponies in that world had been turned into monsters. So, we armed ourselves to the teeth, and, based on the clues we gathered, first rescued the Cosmic Princess, who had been turned into a stone statue by the evil magic. Then, under the command of the Cosmic Princess, we created an ultra-large purification spell to cleanse the evil magic that enveloped the world. After that, we used heavy firepower to fight alongside the Cosmic Princess and shattered the creator of the evil magic, an evil chaos monster. In this way, we successfully saved that world. However, before we left, the Cosmic Princess handed me the largest fragment of that monster and asked me to take it away from that world to prevent the monster from reconstituting and resurrecting. For that, I used a specially made anti-magic box to store the fragment, and I set up over 80 magical seals on the box to prevent the residual power of the monster's fragment from leaking out. I never expected that after guarding it for 50 years, it would still be stolen. Wow. It sounds like your adventure back then was incredibly exciting and thrilling." Yunbao was focused on the thrilling adventure and fighting alongside the Cosmic Princess. Ziyue, due to the Nightmare Moon incident, was particularly sensitive to things that could lead to crises. Seeing Ziyue panicking, Hongxing Shanshan was not in a hurry at all. When encountering a situation, don't panic. Although the box was lost, it's not a big problem. The more than 80 sealing spells I set up are not easy to break. To successfully open the box, all the sealing spells must be broken at once. If any one of those spells fails to be broken, not only will all the magical seals reset, but new sealing spells will also be formed. and the order of the ceiling spells will be rearranged. It may even counterattack the thief attempting to break the magic. That thief will not be able to open that box. This sounded familiar, and even with Hongxing Shanshan's introduction, Ziyue felt it was quite credible, but she still worried. But what if? Hongxing Shanshan patted Ziyue's head and comforted her. There is no what if. If she could really break it violently all at once, she wouldn't have chosen to steal when neither I nor you were around, but would have come to rob boldly. With Hongxing Shanshan's solemn assurance, Ziyue stopped worrying and happily left the shop with her sisters. By late night, all the ponies had fallen into a deep sleep. However, at this time, Hongxing Shanshan quietly left Ponyville and came to a small river in the Eternal Freedom Forest. At that moment, Hongxing Shanshan took out an axe and, without a word, directly threw the axe into the river. At the spot where the axe fell into the river, a soft white light illuminated, and under Hongxing Shanshan's gaze, a figure appeared within that soft white light. It was a cute Sokoban turtle with a left fin holding a golden axe, a right fin holding a silver axe, and the axe that Hongxing Shanshan had just thrown sitting atop its head, its entire body made up of a soft grayish-blue color. Dear Hongxing Shanshan, you dropped this golden axe. Hongxing Shanshan quickly interrupted the river god's opening line. Enough with the nonsense, river god. I'm giving you a task now. Investigate the thief who stole that box from my shop today. The Sokoban turtle river god, unable to finish the opening line, nodded gloomily in agreement. Seeing the river god's expression, Hongxing Shanshan felt a pang of pity and could only sigh, saying, "All right, you can recite the opening line." Yay! The river god was so happy that it twirled in place twice, seizing the rare opportunity to recite the opening line. Dear Hongxing Shanshan, did you drop this golden axe? Or was it this silver axe? Or this ordinary axe on my head? The one on your head. Chapter 13 Special Chapter, The End of Darkness. Ahem. Let us get down to business. Let us turn the clock back over 60 years. Ponyville over 60 years ago. At this time, Hongxing Shanshan had not yet separated from the apple orchard business and was living with the Smith family. He was currently helping Smith treat a sick apple tree in the orchard. Uncle Hongxing, are you sure this will work? At this time, Smith was a beautiful young lady, looking like Applejack, but with 2 long braids. Recently, one of the fruit trees in the orchard had developed a strange disease, and the Smith family had never seen such a situation. They were at a loss, so they quickly called Hongxing Shanshan to solve the problem. Don't worry. Even if it doesn't survive, we still have magic. Now we need to understand the principle of why the tree got sick, so that next time we encounter this situation, we can minimize the loss. Hongxing Shanshan patted his chest and promised. But is it really okay to cut the tree down to just a bare trunk? Looking at the apple tree that had all its branches cut off and was tightly wrapped in plastic, Smith expressed deep doubts. In response to Smith's doubts, Hongxing Shanshan patiently explained, to cure a fruit tree infected with tree madness, the current method is to cut off all the branches and leave only the bare trunk. If it can't be cured, then it will have to be uprooted. But don't worry, as long as we can successfully understand the principle of this disease, we won't have to worry about these problems in the future. The 2 ponies were discussing in front of the tree when a female unicorn resembling Hongxing Shanshan, with a light yellow body, white mane, and a cute mark of a dark cloud, approached them. Dear, this tree looks very serious. Do you have a solution? As soon as the female pony spoke, her voice was as melodious as a yellow oriole coming out of the valley, and her every move exuded noble elegance. If not explained to the other ponies, she might be mistaken for a lady of high society. The female pony, Xiaohei, walked slowly to Hongxing Shanshan's side, gently leaning against him, and softly said, "Are you free right now? I'd like to go to town for something to eat." Hongxing Shanshan thought about it. There was indeed nothing else to do, so he nodded and said, "There's nothing else today. I'm a bit hungry too. Let us go?" The 2 ponies ignored Smith, who was nearby, and just walked away. Watching the 2 ponies being so affectionate, Smith couldn't help but exclaim, "Honestly, I really can't imagine that Uncle Hongxing, this old wooden block, would also have someone pursuing him. It's truly a miracle." After complaining, Smith glanced at the sick tree, didn't think much more, and went to do the next task. In town, Hongxing Shanshan and Xiaohei arrived at a restaurant in Ponyville. The restaurant's interior was quite simple, but the diners didn't mind, as the construction of Ponyville was still not complete. And running such a restaurant was already a difficult task. Hongxing Shanshan casually ordered a few dishes, and he and Xiaohei chose an empty table without diners to wait for the food. "How have you been feeling lately?" Hongxing Shanshan asked lightly, looking at Xiaohei's face. Xiaohei smiled slightly and gently said, "I'm feeling pretty good." The 2 ponies chatted back and forth at the table, scattering dog food that almost filled the surrounding diners. The waiter politely placed the dishes on the table, and the 2 ponies finally quieted down to start their meal. The diners were relieved that they no longer had to eat dog food. After finishing their meal, the two ponies left the restaurant and arrived at the edge of the Eternal Freedom Forest. There was a small cabin there, and they walked inside. This cabin was a secret base built by Red Star Sparkle, filled with many magical items created by her magic. After closing the door, Red Star Sparkle picked up a notebook. Little Black transformed into a cloud. Red Star Sparkle gently spoke to Little Black. "Yes, dear." Little Black hugged Red Star Sparkle, and then her body gradually became ethereal, finally turning into a black cloud the size of two ponies. Red Star Sparkle nodded, opened the notebook, and began to write. "On the 15th day since my wife was created, Little Black has fully matured in emotional understanding. As the first intelligent being I created, her individual thoughts, self-awareness, and emotional changes are no different from those of a normal pony. After being single for many years, I am finally ready to say goodbye to being alone and head towards a happy marriage. The wife creation plan has been a complete success." Red Star Sparkle paused, closed the book, and put it away before turning and pouncing onto the large black cloud that was Little Black. Little Black cradled Red Star Sparkle like a soft bed, and she indulged Red Star Sparkle, allowing her to roll around like a child. Little Black was the first life created by Red Star Sparkle, born from her love. From the moment she was born, she understood that she should love her and that she must love her. It was her mission to be created. However, she did not understand what love was or how to love, which caused some trouble for Red Star Sparkle at first. But with Red Star Sparkle's guidance, she learned what love, emotions, and self-awareness were. She truly fell in love with Red Star Sparkle. This love was simple yet precious. It transcended the ethereal mission. It came from the heart and was genuine love. As I imagined a future life with my dear, an accident took me away from her side. A sudden white halo appeared without any warning above my head, taking me away from my beloved. I left her forever, lost in this place. Now, Little Black was entirely black, with subtle sparkles on her body, her mane flowing like clouds and mist, and her horn emitting a faint glow, releasing a magical shield that enveloped her. Looking outside the shield, she found herself trapped in a giant claw. "Oh ho ho, what a touching last word, Miss Little Black. But unfortunately, I'm not interested," said a creature that was a patchwork of a scorpion tail, cow hooves, eagle claws, a dragon's body, a horse's head, and goat horns. Her words seemed to express sentiment, but they were filled with mockery and malice. The monster grinned, revealing sharp teeth, her eyes full of greed. "I must say, the power within you is quite special. It can accept my chaotic magic without losing itself, merely changing its appearance. How curious." Watching the pony in her claw undergo a drastic transformation, the monster felt immense pleasure as she saw Little Black still trying to struggle. "Since pure chaotic magic has no effect on you, why not try this power called suffering and malice? Let's see how long your love can hold up." The monster snapped her fingers, and a massive, bizarre magic penetrated the magical shield, directly drilling into Little Black's body. "I will never be controlled by you." Little Black struggled desperately, but the strange magic that entered her body was interfering with her own magic, attacking her soul and eroding her spirit. The shield began to flicker, cracks appearing on it. With a sudden force, the claw squeezed tightly, shattering the shield and completely crushing Little Black in her grip. "Oh dear, what a pity, little toy. You can only fantasize about that annoying love of yours before you die, huh?" The monster laughed heartily. For her, tormenting weak creatures and plunging them into anguish and despair was the greatest joy. Suddenly, she felt something unusual in her claw as a tremendous force attempted to pry it open. The power grew stronger, and in an instant, her claw was forced open, a pitch-black mist escaping from her grasp. "How is this possible?" The monster was shocked as the black mist expanded, gradually covering the entire space. The monster tried to use magic to eliminate the black mist. She attempted several spells, but none had any effect. "Ha! Monster, thank you for your magic. I feel an unprecedented strength." From within the black mist, Little Black emerged, but unlike before, she now had a pair of wings. Little Black looked at the monster, her eyes filled with disdain and contempt. "What exactly are you?" The monster's eyes widened, trembling. The mockery on her face vanished, replaced by endless terror. "From now on, I am the dark of the end. I will bring the world into ultimate darkness." Chapter 14. Poison joke. Recently, Ponyville has been quite unsettled. Looking at the newspaper in her hooves, Red Star Sparkle sighed. After entering the main storyline, she could clearly feel that Ponyville's troubles were increasing. It felt as if since Purple Moon arrived in Ponyville, the Cosmic Princess had become less efficient. The kinds of troubles that used to take months to appear in the newspaper were now seen daily. There were issues of sovereignty over new territories, Some noble ponies and high-ranking officials had drastically changed their personalities, and various monsters that ordinary ponies might never see in their lifetimes were causing chaos. It was truly countless. Ding ding. The door of the grocery store was gently opened, and a stranger pony cloaked in gray walked in. Hello, Cora, what would you like to buy? Red Star Sparkle glanced at the newcomer and immediately recognized who it was. It was Cora, who had been the subject of rumors in town for the past few days, and the tales had become increasingly outrageous. Even though she had asked Tomato to dispel the rumors, it was of no use. The ponies ran away when they saw Cora, and even Cora herself wore a cloak to keep her distance from the ponies, making the attempts at clarification pointless. For some reason, many shops are closed. Excuse me, shopkeeper. I hope you don't mind my intrusion. I'm in urgent need of these herbs on the list. I would be very grateful if you could sell them. Cora took out a list from her cloak, which contained several types of herbs. After Red Star Sparkle confirmed the items, she used magic to take the bottles containing the corresponding herbal juices from the shelf and handed them to Cora, just as she was about to quote a price. She thought about how Cora seemed to have a bath recipe that Ponyville did not have and felt it was necessary to experience it. So, she said to Cora, I heard that you have a special bath culture over there. How about this? You take me to experience the bath, and I won't charge you. It would be my honor. Cora readily agreed since it was just a bath and did not involve any so-called exclusive recipes. Moreover, the shopkeeper had no ill intentions. She just wanted to take a bath, so neither party felt there was any exploitation, and they did not see a need to refuse like ordinary friends. Thus, Red Star Sparkle temporarily closed the shop and followed Cora directly into the Eternal Freedom Forest. Along the way, the two ponies chatted quite amicably. As they walked, they passed through a sea of poison joke flowers. Although poison joke carried a special toxin, it must be said that this flower sea was truly beautiful. A rare natural sight. Just as the two ponies were about to walk past, they saw a young pony emerge from the poison joke flower sea. Apple Lily, what are you doing here? Red Star Sparkle was a bit worried. After all, this was the Eternal Freedom Forest. Don't be fooled by the six who treat the Eternal Freedom Forest as the forever free forest for ordinary ponies. A moment of carelessness could mean a lifetime lost in the Eternal Freedom Forest. As an elder, Red Star Sparkle's concern for the younger generation was only natural. Apple Lily looked around and immediately spotted Red Star Sparkle, rushing into her embrace without a second thought. However, in that embrace, the toxic joke juice left on Apple Lily splattered onto Red Star Sparkle. Pony fans all knew how abstract the poison of the toxic joke was in the pony world. Its level of abstraction could rival chaos. Naturally, Red Star Sparkle fell victim to it. Under the gaze of Apple Lily and Keela, Red Star Sparkle first turned white, then grew wings, and finally her brown-black mane transformed into flowing colors. Aside from not having a crown, jewelry, and a cute mark, she was indistinguishable from the Cosmic Princess in every other aspect. In fact, in some ways, Red Star Sparkle exuded an aloof aura, her gaze sharp, her cold expression unchanged over the years, and her unique temperament capable of suppressing other ponies, making her even more like a monarch than the Cosmic Princess. The poison of the toxic joke, much like a jest, was harmless to ponies but only added trouble. We needed to quickly concoct an antidote to avoid causing any issues. Keela called out to the two, but seeing they still had no reaction, she noticed both Red Star Sparkle and Apple Lily pointing at their mouths and ears. Keela covered her face, thinking, no wonder it's called a toxic joke. The little foal has become a deaf-mute. And Red Star Sparkle has absurdly turned into a deaf-mute Cosmic Princess, and a cold version at that. Just a few steps later, a loud shout came from behind. Be careful, you ponies. The blue leaves are no joke. Keela warned loudly, her tone very urgent. Seeing the unresponsive Apple Lily and the figure resembling the Cosmic Princess, Ziyue and the others became even more anxious, completely ignoring Keela's words. The rushing wind stirred up the petals of the toxic joke, and the pounding of hooves splattered a large amount of toxic joke juice. To avoid being affected, Keela could only take the two sick ones into the mist. The three ponies were quickly enveloped in mist, and their figures soon disappeared within it. Just then, a gust of wind blew in, stirring up a large number of toxic joke petals and green leaves, obstructing the view of the six. In a short while, the six lost track of the three ponies. My little pony Maria, we've lost them, Shinchi screamed. Meanwhile, Ziyue had completely fallen into contemplation, unable to understand why the Cosmic Princess appeared here and ignored them entirely. Most importantly, the crown and accessories on her head were gone. As her thoughts became more tangled, Ziyue's expression gradually turned abstract, clearly entering a state of madness. Applejack was still loudly calling for Apple Lily, but it was clearly futile. Rainbow Dash was looking around high up in the sky, but saw nothing but trees. Meanwhile, Pinkie Pie was frantically spinning the situation into something worse, talking about apple lily foal soup, cosmic princess broth, and pony-filled cakes. Just as the 6 ponies were about to go completely mad, Eggplant hurriedly arrived. Chapter 15. Antidote inside the Golden Oak Library. However, Eggplant was speechless. If you were to ask her why she was speechless, she would tell you, "Why won't you all listen to me?" Looking at the 6 unfortunate kids before her, Eggplant's native language was silence. The poison of the toxic joke could strike quickly or might not show symptoms until a day or 2 later. After half an hour of the 6 ponies going crazy in place, the toxic joke took effect. They then turned into characters like the big-tongued Pinkie Pie, the pretty dog Shinchi, the pocket-sized Applejack, the uncoordinated Rainbow Dash, the soft and squishy Ziyue. Oh, did Ziyue find a way to break the witch's curse? The mosquito-like voice of Mini Applejack was quite adorable in a certain sense. Eggplant's anger level was at 10%. That, puff puff puff. The big-tongued Pinkie Pie suddenly interrupted Eggplant. But no one knew what she was saying. Her eyes suggested it wasn't anything good. Eggplant's anger level rose to 30%. That, we need to find that witch to lift this damn curse. Rainbow Dash, each of her limbs having their own thoughts, was angrily fed up with always getting stuck on various obstacles. Eggplant's anger level reached 60%. No, there are no curses in this world. This is definitely some kind of magic. Let me keep looking. Eggplant's anger level hit 90%. That, ha ha ha. I can't take it anymore. Ha ha ha. Sorry, I usually don't laugh easily. But I just couldn't hold it in, ha ha ha. Swailong was laughing wildly, lying on the ground, pounding the earth and slapping her knees. I can't take it anymore. You all listen to me. Keela is just an ordinary zebra. She doesn't know any witchcraft curses. You all are affected by the poison of the toxic joke. Look at the records on page 33 of this book. Eggplant roared, using her lion's roar technique to silence the chattering protagonists, causing their hair to blow back. Eggplant opened the book titled Supernatural Detailed Explanation to the corresponding page, shoved it at Ziyue, and commanded her to read the contents. The stunned ponies obediently fell silent, following Eggplant's orders as Ziyue read the content. The book detailed the information about the toxic joke, taking a full 3 minutes to finish reading. Afterward, each of them lowered their heads in shame, not daring to speak. At that moment, the cosmic princess, who was secretly visiting, sneezed suddenly. Achoo, why did I suddenly sneeze? That shouldn't be. I haven't caught a cold in years. It must be Ziyue talking about me. Eggplant stomped her hooves on the ground, glaring at the group of crazy ponies, her little mouth sweet as honey, unleashing a fierce output that even startled Swailong into hiccups. Hic, that hic. I hic. Can't stop hiccuping. Hic, can someone help me with my hiccups? Eggplant looked at the hiccuping Swailong, and without hesitation picked her up, shaking her up and down like a can. After curing Swailong, Eggplant ignored her as she leaned against the wall, retching, and turned her gaze back to the main group. At this moment, Ziyue weakly asked, if that wasn't the cosmic princess, then who could it be? Eggplant crossed her forelegs, tapping her right hoof on the ground repeatedly, and said dryly, haven't you noticed that Red Star Sparkle is missing? You saw that the cosmic princess wasn't wearing her crown and accessories. Isn't it possible that the effect of the toxic joke on Red Star Sparkle is turning her into a cosmic princess-like figure? Ziyue was left speechless. All right, sisters. Let us first follow the antidote method written in the book to cure the poison of the toxic joke, then go apologize to Keela. Feeling relieved, Eggplant was now at ease, while the 6 were still feeling uncomfortable. The group searched around the town and found that several shops didn't have the ingredients they needed for the antidote. They then went to Red Star Sparkle's grocery store, and although they found a bottled herbal juice, they unfortunately still lacked some herbs and couldn't gather the full formula. With no other choice, the 6 decided to seek help from Keela, of course, also to apologize. Thus, Eggplant crawled on the ground like a dog, relying on her excellent sense of smell, guiding the 6 through the twists and turns of the eternal Freedom Forest until they finally reached Keela's treehouse. Eggplant stated, just to clarify, I'm not a dog. The little pony cautiously approached the window, trying to look inside to see if Keela was there. When the ponies looked into the window, they were stunned by the scene inside. In the treehouse, a large pot was placed in the hall, with a fire burning underneath. Bubbles were rising from the pot, and the cosmic princess was submerged in it like a dead horse, her neck leaning against the edge of the pot, with a white radish stuffed in her mouth. Even Cola was standing next to the pot, adding ingredients. Ziyue was so frightened by this scene that she immediately panicked and teleported to the front door, kicking the treehouse door open. Cosmic Princess, wake up, Cosmic Princess. Ziyue was so flustered that she lost control of her expression and rushed to the Cosmic Princess, trying to wake her up. Cola and the short apple Lily, who was adding firewood but was blocked by the large pot, were both dumbfounded. What's going on? Wait, Ziyue? What are you doing here? Red Star was also a bit confused. He had been enjoying his bath too much, only eating half of the radish in his mouth before dozing off, nearly being startled away by Ziyue's royal voice. As soon as Red Star spoke, his familiar stallion voice made Ziyue realize she was getting overly anxious again. You continue, I won't disturb. I'll just. Ziyue forced a royal awkward smile. Ziyue. And Yunbao, and Ro, and Biki, is that Jinchi? Wait, sister, why have you gotten so small? Did you fall under some magic? By the way, how did you all end up here? Apple Lily looked at the sudden appearance of the 6 ponies from Ponyville, feeling puzzled. At that moment, Chiahi poked his head in from the door, calmly saying, they all fell for a poison joke and then misunderstood Cola was going to make the Cosmic Princess into Cosmic Princess soup. So they kicked the door in, ready to rescue the princess, defeat the witch, and give Pony Maria a peaceful world. You little ponies, let me tell you to be careful, the blue leaves are poisonous. If you can't hear my warning and barge into my home, kicking down the door, what will you do now? Cola was somewhat angry to see her door inexplicably kicked off. Right? We're very sorry. We misunderstood. We're really sorry, Cola. We will definitely compensate you. Ziyue and the others sincerely apologized. Could you all talk later? If the fire under this pot keeps burning, I might really end up as that Cosmic Princess soup. Red Star felt very speechless about this. Chapter 16. The clue of the thief since Cola's misunderstanding was cleared up last time. The residents of Ponyville were no longer afraid of Cola, and everything returned to normal. For the past 2 days, Red Star had been out of Ponyville on a business trip, and except for Chiahi, the other ponies did not know the specific reason. Today, at Ziyue's invitation, Chiahi was going to attend the second pajama party hosted by Ziyue tonight. By the way, the first ones invited were Applejack and Jinchi, who had talked about Ziyue's party last week. It must be said that Chiahi had already won the hearts of the ponies and had become very close friends with the 6. I believe tonight will be quite fun. The next day, Chiahi emerged from Ziyue's house with dark circles under her eyes. As for why, it had to do with Biki and Ziyue. Can you imagine? Just when we were exhausted from playing and ready to sleep, my eyelids were about to fight. And just as I was about to fall asleep, Biki started loudly whispering, Ziyue, are you asleep yet? I'm still awake. Chiahi, are you asleep yet? I'm still awake. The most ridiculous part was that Ziyue and Biki just started chatting like that all night long, and I was tortured and couldn't sleep at all. After staying up all night, I was dead tired. Following Chiahi out of the door were the energetic Biki and Ziyue. Biki was energetic because she was Biki, and Ziyue was energetic because she had gotten used to staying up late reading. Staying up with these two was harder than staying up with an owl. What? The Cosmic Princess is coming to Ponyville tomorrow. Wow, this royal voice really inherited the Cosmic Princess's true essence. It nearly made Chiahi's ears ring. With dark circles under her eyes, Chiahi turned around and saw Suelong reading a letter from the Cosmic Princess to Ziyue. Then Ziyue, acting like she was possessed, snatched the letter from Suelong's hands, her eyes bulging as she scanned the letter, and finally, her face turned into one of horror, her cheeks sinking in, the scene transforming into a scream. Snap! Before Chiahi could react, she instinctively took out her camera to capture the moment. Ziyue and the others were already accustomed to being abstract, and this time, taking abstract expression photos had become muscle memory. However, Ziyue was so caught up in her excitement that she didn't notice. Suddenly, Ziyue froze and rushed over to Chiahi, one hoof pulling on Chiahi's neck and the other grabbing Suelong's tail, running urgently toward the town center on her 2 hooves. Mayor, I have something important to say. Hurry and gather all the residents at the town center. The mayor remained unflustered in the face of Ziyue's royal voice. It must be said that the mayor was indeed composed, able to remain calm in most situations. The mayor lightly cleared her throat and pointed at Chiahi, who was being pulled by Ziyue. When Ziyue's gaze followed the mayor's pointing, she realized Chiahi had already walked away for a while, her soul almost floating out. By the time Chiahi regained her senses, she found herself in the town center surrounded by the bustling residents of Ponyville. Why does my face feel inexplicably painful? Chiahi slowly stood up with a face full of hoof prints. Ahaha. Chiahi, you woke up just in time. All the residents of Ponyville have already arrived. Ziyue was looking around, not paying attention to Chiahi's face. Ahem, everyone, please be quiet. At this moment, the mayor spoke up. The ponies quieted down when they heard the mayor. I have an announcement to make. Just now, Ziyue received a letter from the Cosmic Princess. Tomorrow, the Cosmic Princess said she will come to visit Ponyville. So everyone, get ready to welcome the Cosmic Princess. As soon as the mayor finished speaking, the crowd of ponies erupted in excitement. The Cosmic Princess is coming. Wow, we can see the Cosmic Princess again. The ponies chattered excitedly. Suelong added, "It's an informal visit." However, no ponies paid attention to Suelong's words. "Suelong, being ignored. I'm used to it." Next, the mayor and everyone discussed how to welcome the Cosmic Princess's visit. The final plan was to first ensure the hygiene of Ponyville, to throw a welcome party for the Cosmic Princess at the Candy House, and for every pony to do their part to ensure that the arrangements for the Cosmic Princess's visit were well organized and successful. With the plan settled, all the ponies began to take action. Before long, there were hardly any ponies left in the town center, as they all rushed off to carry out their work assignments. He was also assigned a task, responsible for taking photos of the Cosmic Princess's visit. The job was quite easy and matched her expertise, just watering a bit. But before that, she needed to take a nice long nap. Otherwise, it would be impolite to greet the Cosmic Princess with these dark circles under her eyes. Wasn't Red Star sending the river god Sakaban to investigate the mysterious thief of the treasure chest? These past few days, the river god Sakaban had found some clues. Upon investigation, the river god exclaimed, "Wow, it turns out the thief of the treasure chest is a mysterious pony from another world." But it's unclear why this pony would steal the treasure chest or what they intend to do with it. So Red Star set off on a business trip to the mysterious pony's world. As for how the river god Sakaban figured it out, with the clues, Red Star followed the same method, using that mirror to travel to that world. Upon entering this world, looking around, the location happens to be Ponyville. But something feels off about this Ponyville, or rather this world. This scene looks somewhat familiar. Looking at the sky covered with dark clouds, from a distance, there's only a little sunlight shining on Canterlot, and the entire world exudes a vague malice, reminiscent of a zombie pony world. However, I haven't seen any zombies. Looking around, there are still no ponies in Ponyville, and the entire town looks like it has been abandoned for several years, just like in the zombie pony world. A gust of wind blows by, and a yellowed, tattered newspaper floats right to the hooves of Red Star Shining. Red Star Shining picks up the newspaper and looks at the content, frowning. The army of the Bug Queen has conquered Pony Daphnia. Manhattan has fallen. Dodge City and Appaloosa have been breached. Wait, the Cosmic Princess has failed for the third time? The Moon Princess has been captured by the Bug Queen? Canterlot has activated a magical barrier? What the hell is going on? I have to say, this plot has indeed shocked him. Is the Bug Queen here that powerful? Chapter 17. The overloaded Bug Queen. I don't understand. Is the Cosmic Princess a fake? Or are the Princess Sisters really that weak? It shouldn't be. Red Star Shining is still confused. Where is the sixth pony in this world? Why is there no mention of them in the newspaper? Furthermore, there is no information about the princesses using the elements of harmony. So, what is the connection with that thing? The thing sealed in the treasure chest being stolen to this world must be related, but Red Star Shining can't figure it out right now. After thinking for a long time with no clue, Red Star Shining decides to go to Canterlot to investigate. With a goal in mind, the next course of action becomes clear, but before that, Red Star Shining needs to prepare. Red Star Shining takes out the magical spellbook, opens the corresponding page, and lightly taps it. A shimmering effect appears, and the mushroom monster makes a bright entrance. Mambo Mambo. The mushroom monster is happy to come out and play again, shaking its umbrella and affectionately rubbing against Red Star Shining. Mushroom monster, we have to go on a journey again. Create some explosive little mushrooms along the way. The more the better. After assigning the task to the mushroom monster, Red Star Shining jumps lightly onto the umbrella. Let us go. To Canterlot. Mambo. As Red Star Shining rides the mushroom monster, they observe the surroundings on the way. Not to mention ponies, not even a bird can be seen. There are almost no living creatures. This is very much like the Bug Queen's realm, or rather very bug-like. It seems that apart from Canterlot, there are no sentient beings left in other parts of Pony Maria. Red Star Shining is certain that these sentient beings have all been captured by the Bug Queen for food storage. There are no dangers along the way, just tumbleweeds occasionally passing by. The mushroom monster runs quite fast, and within a day, they arrive at Canterlot. The horse and the mushroom stop at the boundary of Canterlot, not because they can't enter, but because they can't get in. A very powerful magical barrier envelopes all of Canterlot, and this magical barrier is very stable. However, fortunately, it has no offensive properties. Red Star Shining thinks for a moment and decides to try if teleportation magic can get them inside. With a flash of the horn and a special effect, Red Star Shining teleports from the left side of the mushroom monster to the right side. Okay, it seems to have an anti-magic effect. I should have thought of that. Thinking about what he has done that can pass through, he comes up with an idea. He shakes the spellbook, and a floating ring similar to that of the ancient one appears on his horn. This ring was made many years ago when he had nothing to do. He made a few of these, and it can open a spatial passage. Importantly, This thing opens a spatial passage that doesn't belong to magical products, but is a kind of rule effect, which just so happens not to trigger the anti-magic effect of the barrier. So, with a thought, a spatial passage similar to that of the ancient one appears before Red Star Shining, and the horse and mushroom walk right in. Red Star Shining smoothly enters the Canterlot barrier. The moment he comes in, the feeling of the entire world exuding malice disappears, and Canterlot looks normal, not much different. Just a bit more oppressive than usual. Looking up at the center city, the Pegasus army is patrolling, inspecting each cloud multiple times. At the city gate, the guards are even more strict, with a large number of earth ponies and unicorns patrolling. The earth ponies' eyes take turns standing guard, ensuring they don't lose sight for even a millisecond, and any suspicious movement will prompt the unicorns to use magic to attack. Given the quality of this army, if it weren't for the Bug Queen's cheating, Red Star Shining would absolutely not believe that the Bug Queen could defeat the Cosmic Princess and capture the Moon Princess through sheer strength. The quality of this army is many times stronger than his own, and he can guarantee that with the quality of this army, even his own Nightmare Moon might not come out unscathed. Red Star Shining just tried again and found that teleportation magic doesn't work within the barrier. It's impossible to teleport directly in. He still has to use the floating ring. Thus, Red Star Shining opens another spatial passage, heading straight to the Canterlot Castle. Intending to ask the Cosmic Princess about the specific situation, Red Star Shining, accompanied by the Mushroom Monster, easily enters the Princess Castle of Canterlot through the spatial passage. Inside the castle, in contrast to the heavy defenses outside, it looks very deserted, suggesting that most of the military guards inside the castle have been dispatched. Therefore, Red Star Shining doesn't bother with any hidden disguises, walking boldly down the castle corridor with the Mushroom Monster, heading towards the Princess Throne Hall. He doesn't encounter a single patrol on the way, making Red Star Shining feel that it's too easy. Soon, Red Star Shining arrives at the door of the Princess Throne Hall. Just as he is about to push open the large door, to his surprise, the door opens automatically, and the Cosmic Princess is sitting on the throne, looking sharply at Red Star Shining below. What method did you use to open the spatial passage and enter Canterlot? The Cosmic Princess's tone is cold, sounding like a threat or a warning. The moment Red Star Shining opened the spatial passage, the Cosmic Princess sensed it. But due to the magical barrier, she couldn't teleport to the scene. However, she guessed that the other party was coming for her. So she ordered the patrols and other ponies to evacuate early to avoid unnecessary casualties and to allow her to fight without holding back. Upon seeing Red Star Shining, she could feel that this pony was extraordinary. The other party's cold aura, sharp gaze, and extremely cold expression even subtly overshadowed her own powerful presence, making her break into a cold sweat. I come from another world because a thief stole a dangerous item from me. Seeing the situation here, I wanted to ask about the specifics of this world and how the Bug Queen defeated you. Red Star Shining doesn't beat around the bush and straightforwardly begins to inquire. This unexpectedly surprises the Cosmic Princess. But her vigilance towards Red Star Shining doesn't decrease much. She simply stops keeping a cold face and explains everything to Red Star Shining. With the Cosmic Princess's explanation, Red Star Shining understands a lot of things. First, this world does not have the sixth pony, or rather due to some unknown reason. There was an abnormality in space-time. The sixth pony, who should have appeared, did not show up, and the original Cosmic Princess's student, Twilight Sparkle, failed to successfully use magic to hatch Spike during the entrance exam, so she was not admitted. The sky is also obscured by the black smoke produced by several adult dragons that have come to Pony Maria to sleep and snore. The reason why the Cosmic Princess was defeated 3 times in a row primarily lies in the fact that the Cocoon Queen obtained a Skyhorn Beast amulet. She used the amulet to extract the magical power from a large number of captives caught by the Illusion Tribe, significantly enhancing her own strength. Now, the Cocoon Queen is continuously supplied with love energy, including the magical power of the Moon Princess, numerous ponies, and other magical races, making her strength vastly superior to before. In their subsequent 3 confrontations, the Cocoon Queen withstood 3 harmony cannons, and the effects of the harmony element were not significant. She even managed to pressure the Cosmic Princess in close combat after enduring the harmony cannons, forcing the Cosmic Princess to retreat. However, before the Cocoon Queen obtained the Skyhorn Beast amulet, she had received a special magical gem, which allowed her to withstand such immense magical power. Faced with this situation, the Cosmic Princess had no choice but to use the harmony element to set up an anti-magic barrier in Canterlot, isolating the Cocoon Queen outside. This situation sounds very familiar to me. Chapter 18. Skip the plot. I have another question. Cosmic Princess, have you ever seen a rainbow sonic boom? Red Star Sparkle asked. The Cosmic Princess shook her head. I have not seen it with my own eyes. I don't know much about the rainbow sonic boom, but it is mentioned in legends. Why do you ask? After getting the answer she wanted, Red Star Sparkle began to understand the situation and explained to the Cosmic Princess, if I am not mistaken, there should be a problem with the timeline in your world. The Cosmic Princess's expression turned serious. If there is a problem with the timeline, then it makes sense. No wonder I always feel a sense of incongruity. It seems that the abnormality in the timeline has caused certain ponies or events that should have appeared to be absent. Red Star Sparkle nodded in agreement. After all, having one less defense princess is like this. The Cosmic Princess hit the nail on the head. Time is a concept, not a tangible thing. Only the various changes of matter in nature can allow this abstract concept of time to be observed. For life forms at the level of the Cosmic Princess. Understanding this abstract concept is even deeper. Even chaos can manipulate time to some extent. Similarly, at the level of the Cosmic Princess, observing this abstract concept becomes easier and more apparent. However, unexpectedly, the universe has not observed it, or rather, there is only a faint sense of incongruity, so weak that the Cosmic Princess did not even notice it. There is indeed a big problem. Now it was Red Star Sparkle's turn to fall into contemplation. A flash of inspiration struck her mind, and she suddenly thought of a possibility. This made the Cosmic Princess think of a certain character. Are you referring to Chaos? Although he can indeed do it, this situation should not have been caused by him. Although Chaos does have this ability, he would not act this way. He is neither absolutely righteous nor absolutely evil, so he wouldn't do something like this. Red Star Sparkle thought the same way, but just because Chaos wouldn't do it does not mean that someone similar to him wouldn't. So, do you know anything, Yunyu? In the end, the Cosmic Princess concluded that she did not. As expected, this result was within Red Star Sparkle's expectations. Just as she was about to continue asking for information, a flash of white light suddenly appeared in the space between the two ponies. With a thud, an old notebook with a very chaotic style fell to the ground. The Cosmic Princess was not surprised or taken aback by seeing the notebook. It seems that Chaos knows some insider information. This chaotic magic is something the Cosmic Princess is very familiar with, apart from Chaos. She couldn't think of anyone else who could do it. Red Star Sparkle used magic to bring the notebook to her hoof. She gently opened the notebook, which was filled with very messy handwriting. Red Star Sparkle read from top to bottom and from left to right, frowning more and more, getting increasingly tangled up. Finally, after closing the notebook, she reached a conclusion. I can't understand this. The handwriting is too messy. So, Red Star Sparkle handed the notebook to the Cosmic Princess, who turned it over and began reading from the bottom up. In no time, the Cosmic Princess understood what was written in the notebook. I remember you said, Cosmic Princess, that the Cocoon Queen obtained a magical gem that allowed her to withstand such immense magical power, right? Red Star Sparkle focused on this special magical gem as the ultimate goal. Red Star Sparkle nodded in affirmation. The Cosmic Princess sighed helplessly. Knowing how to solve this crisis did not make her feel happy at all. She and the Moon Princess could not defeat the overwhelming Cocoon Queen. And the one who could solve this problem, Chaos, was also unwilling to show up and take action. Moreover, she was not in her peak state, and the gap between enemies and allies was too vast, leaving the Cosmic Princess feeling somewhat desperate. Since we can't handle it alone, why don't we call for help? Red Star Sparkle took out that magical spellbook and flipped it open, tapping it 5 times. 5 sparkling effects flashed, revealing 5 figures. Jade Rabbit, reporting, boss. Little Jade's dual guns are ready. Dragon Horse, may I ask, esteemed one, where's the enemy this time? Winged King Leo, my lord, what crisis is this? Snow Queen, it's great that we 5 are finally together again. The Bear Rabbit Dragon Horse and the other 5 usually maintain and manage the world created by Red Star Sparkle, so they often do not meet. They only come together when Red Star Sparkle encounters something significant, making joint action feel like a team-building exercise, and they are always quite excited. Seeing Red Star Sparkle summon 5 unfamiliar characters, the Cosmic Princess suddenly realized that Red Star Sparkle now had these helpers. The photo Red Star Sparkle produced was naturally of the Cocoon Queen, but unexpectedly, it was a group photo of the 5 of them with the Cocoon Queen. Chapter 19. The eve of battle, a well-preserved old photo was firmly held in Red Star Sparkle's hoof, and several heads leaned in together to look at the photo in her possession, which also piqued the curiosity of the Cosmic Princess, who leaned in as well. This photo indeed depicted the 5 of them with the Cocoon Queen, but they were not the only 6 present. The 2 princess sisters, the Harmony Princess and Shining Armor, Suolong, Cola, 6, Starlight Glimmer, Trixie, Chaos, and a youthful Smith along with some of the older generation from Ponyville were also in the picture. Everyone stood together. And apart from Red Star Sparkle's unchanged deadpan expression over the years, they all looked very happy, including the Cocoon Queen standing next to the Cosmic Princess. Looking at the Cocoon Queen in the photo, the Cosmic Princess was so shocked that her jaw dropped and her eyes nearly bulged out. What the heck? Are you telling me this is the Cocoon Queen? Seeing the Cocoon Queen in the photo, who stood with a smile on her left side, poised and elegant, with a presence that was no less than her own, the Cosmic Princess was utterly taken aback, hardly able to believe her eyes. Her expression was so distorted that it looked like Luffy from One Piece during the episodes where he learned from Kaido. If given a chance to bet, she would even wager that if this is the Cocoon Queen, she would wash her hair upside down. But the Cocoon Queen in the photo had an elegant and demure demeanor, exuding a gentle lady vibe, with no holes in sight. Most importantly, her originally gray-green fur was surprisingly well-groomed, resembling the mane of the Harmony Princess, with a bright and vibrant color. With this appearance of the Cocoon Queen in the photo, not to mention the Cosmic Princess, even Chaos, if he had the script, would have to think twice about whether he had mistaken the character. Cough. This Cocoon Queen is from another parallel universe, and the storyline there is different from yours. Over there, the Cocoon Queen has always been a good bug, and she is even a longtime best friend of the Cosmic Princess from that world. As Red Star Sparkle casually explained, smoke began to rise from the Cosmic Princess's head, and she stood there frozen like a statue, probably overloaded and unable to recover for a while. All right, boss, say less and let us first arrange the action plan. Then the 7 heads huddled together. We'll do this first, then that, and finally this. At this moment, the true form in the chaotic space turned on the TV. Holding popcorn in one hand and a cup of hot chocolate in the other, lightly pressing a button on the remote, and the TV immediately changed channels. On the other side, in the illusionary spirit nest, the Cocoon Queen sat steadily on her dark, cold throne, resting her eyes. A higher-level illusionary spirit approached the throne. With a thicker shell, sharper spikes, and stronger wings than ordinary illusionary spirits, he respectfully conveyed a message to the Cocoon Queen. The Cocoon Queen slowly opened her eyes and lazily issued commands to the illusionary spirit below the throne. After receiving the order, the higher-level illusionary spirit retreated respectfully. After a while, a figure draped in a black cloak slowly emerged from the shadows at the entrance, silently coming before the throne. The Cocoon Queen casually stretched her body, seemingly disinterested, and slowly lowered her head to look at the cloaked figure below the throne, her eyes filled with disdain, as if looking at a ridiculous clown that dared not show its true face. Such a cowardly figure was not even worthy of her attention. Very well, then. Where is it? Although the Cocoon Queen's tone remained lazy, it could not conceal her contempt and disdain. As if she did not care whether this cloaked figure could bring her what she wanted. The mysterious cloaked figure remained silent, merely taking out a treasure chest with sparkling effects from within the cloak and presenting it to the Cocoon Queen. Is that thing inside here? Looking at the unusually dazzling treasure chest, the Cocoon Queen no longer asked further questions. She placed her hoof on the chest and gave it a gentle tug. But the chest did not budge. The Cocoon Queen initially thought that the chest was simply tightly sealed, so she increased her strength. What is the situation with this box? With all her might, the chest remained unscathed. In a fit of anger, the Cocoon Queen directly blasted the chest with magic. Bang! Cough, cough, cough. Now it should be opened. This magical laser created a large amount of smoke and dust, even choking the Cocoon Queen. After a while, as the smoke cleared, she saw the still unharmed treasure chest and exploded with rage. Are you provoking me? Don't think that just because you can bring me that gem, I want to kill you. The furious Cocoon Queen magically lifted the chest and slammed it to the ground, then turned and bound the cloaked figure with magic, her gaze fierce, the binding getting tighter as if she truly intended to kill the cloaked figure. But a single sentence from the cloaked figure made the Cocoon Queen spare him. You mean the one who can open the chest has already been lured here by you? Although the Cocoon Queen relaxed her binding, her gaze remained fiercely fixed on the cloaked figure. Then why didn't you bring him along? What a waste. You can't even handle a little pony. Fine. In light of you bringing me this broken chest, I'll spare your life. Now tell me where he is. Once the Cocoon Queen got what she wanted from the cloaked figure, her expression became calm, as if the previous ferocity had never existed. He is actually in Canterlot? In that case, there is no need to leave Canterlot alone. Chapter 20. Please enter the trap at the edge of the Canterlot barrier. Hey, brother, look over there. A land pony soldier watching from the lookout tower shouted to a unicorn soldier who was using a telescope to observe other findings. What? The unicorn soldier turned the telescope in the direction the land pony pointed to. That's the illusionary spirit army. All units, attention. The illusionary spirit army is attacking again. The unicorn soldier shouted. The land pony beside him, however, remained calm. Brother, don't be nervous. The illusionary spirits have come many times. Each time they either hit the barrier with rocket-headed hammers or shot that green, ineffective magic at it. Don't worry, this barrier is tough as nails. This time will surely be just like before, a mere formality. The unicorn soldier knocked a hoof on the land pony's helmet and pulled the land pony's head toward him, saying, "You better look for yourself." Saying this, he shoved the telescope into the land pony's hooves, and the land pony raised the telescope to look in the direction of the illusionary spirit army. Seriously, what is the big deal? Why don't you mention that the Cocoon Queen is also here? Hurry, hurry. The Cocoon Queen is attacking with the illusionary spirit army. Messenger, go report to the Cosmic Princess. Quickly, after receiving the confirmed news, the messenger ran to Canterlot Castle as if teleporting, delivering the message. Within a few minutes, frontline intelligence reached the Cosmic Princess. Strange. Why is the Cocoon Queen coming in person this time? The Cosmic Princess felt surprised and puzzled, but it was just in time. So she turned to Red Star Sparkle and said, "It seems we need to move the plan forward." After replaying the situation in her mind several times, the Cosmic Princess entered a state of readiness, flapping her wings and swiftly heading to the scene. Upon arriving at the scene, the Cosmic Princess felt an immense increase in pressure. Outside the barrier, there was a sea of illusionary spirits, based on her understanding of the Cocoon Queen. This time the Cocoon Queen had mobilized her entire army, and from among the countless illusionary spirits, the evil and arrogant figure slowly walked out. It was, of course, the Cocoon Queen, who smiled wickedly, her eyes still filled with disdain and mockery for others. The Cosmic Princess did not overreact, remaining vigilant against the Cocoon Queen and loudly questioning her. "Cocoon Queen, what are you here for?" "Oh, my charming sweetheart, don't be anxious. It's rare for me to come over. Why don't we catch up? You see, I even brought a gift." The Cocoon Queen clapped her hooves, and the illusionary spirits behind her immediately understood, bringing up a green cocoon. "What do you intend to do?" The Cosmic Princess's tone was unfriendly, her gaze full of rage. As the cocoon contained the Moon Princess, the Cocoon Queen, seeing the Cosmic Princess's reaction, couldn't help but laugh. "Don't worry, Princess, I haven't done anything yet. Your dear sister has been so obedient, staying inside to provide me with magic power. Why would I do anything to her?" After some taunting, the Cosmic Princess couldn't help but show a fierce expression, her heart full of anger, but she still restrained herself from taking excessive action. No wonder she had ruled over Ponyland for 1,000 years. Even with her suffering sister right before her, the Cosmic Princess remained calm. "All right, enough small talk. It's time to get serious." A greenish glow wrapped around the Cocoon Queen's sharp horns, and magical energy gradually gathered at the tips. With a loud bang, the green magical beam continuously struck the barrier, making a sizzling sound. The power of this beam made the soldiers present swallow nervously. "Cocoon Queen, your magic is useless. You cannot break this barrier." The Cosmic Princess's horn shone, gathering energy to amplify the barrier. "Are you so confident that this broken thing can hold up now? The power I've gathered from all illusionary spirits and all food sources far exceeds your imagination." With a fierce declaration, the Cocoon Queen increased her output. "How is this possible?" The Cosmic Princess felt the response from the barrier and showed shock, cold sweat dripping down her forehead. "Unicorn Army, stand by. Channel magic to the barrier." The Cosmic Princess quickly commanded the Unicorn Legion to transmit magic to the barrier. "All your struggles are in vain." In an instant, the cocoon released magic at a speed 12 times stronger than before. With a few cracking sounds from the barrier, the horses looked over and saw visible cracks appearing on the barrier. As the output from the Cocoon Queen increased, more and more cracks appeared, becoming denser until the barrier could no longer withstand it. Boom! The barrier was blasted open, and the energy shockwave directly caused the Pegasus Legion to fall to the ground, while the unicorns and earth ponies were also knocked down by the force. "My subjects, attack Canterlot." With a command, a swarm of illusion spirits rushed into the barrier. How could this be? The Cosmic Princess was filled with disbelief. "Are you surprised, unable to comprehend how I have become this powerful?" Suddenly, the voice of the Cocoon Queen appeared beside her. The Cosmic Princess quickly dodged and shot a magic laser in the direction of the voice. Unfortunately, she missed. The Cocoon Queen easily evaded the Cosmic Princess's magic laser. "How did you do that?" The Cosmic Princess looked at the Cocoon Queen, who seemed relaxed as though the magic beam that broke the barrier wasn't released by her, her face filled with wariness. "Previously, I was not strong enough to directly break through the shell you set up, so I shifted my focus to other races outside of Ponyland. Now, including the dragon race. All the powerful magical beings in the world have become my source of magic, and I am now at the pinnacle of this world. In fact, I am so powerful that I can easily raise and lower the sun and moon. Under this immense power, your little shell is nothing but a fragile thing. Ha ha ha. Her words were filled with sarcasm and mockery, her gaze full of disdain and ridicule. The Cocoon Queen had become incredibly powerful. What? Where did this strong wind come from? Suddenly, a hurricane swept through Canterlot, and all the illusion spirit army, except for the little ponies and the Cocoon Queen, were swept out of the barrier by the wind. Looking at the situation before her, the Cocoon Queen was incredulous. Is this hurricane? Cosmic Princess, what trick are you playing? The Cosmic Princess smiled calmly and said slowly, there is an even better show for you to enjoy. Suddenly, something unusual happened at the barrier, and the Cocoon Queen quickly looked at the large hole she had created, which had surprisingly restored itself in an instant. Do you think that by trapping me in this shell and restricting my magic, you can defeat me? Such delusions. The Cocoon Queen no longer underestimated her opponent and shot a magic beam at the Cosmic Princess. Boom! A cloud of dust was kicked up, and the Cosmic Queen lost sight of the Cosmic Princess. Missed. The Cocoon Queen was startled and became alert to her surroundings. Suddenly, a strange sound came from under her feet. Looking down, she realized she had accidentally stepped on a large mushroom. Bang! The mushroom suddenly exploded, sending her flying several meters away. You think such an attack can defeat me? It seems the Cosmic Princess is all talk. She quickly regained her composure, took flight, and began to observe the ground while taunting. As the dust settled, the little pony army, including the Cosmic Princess, had vanished, leaving countless large mushrooms on the ground. Chapter 21. Applejack. Are you saying he is my great-great-grandfather? The Cocoon Queen hovered in midair, watching the dense large mushrooms below her, cautiously observing her surroundings. Although the previous explosion didn't harm her, withstanding that kind of impact made her uncomfortable. Suddenly, she felt a bit of heat above her head. Looking up, she saw a large fireball radiating intense heat coming straight for her. Due to the anti-magic barrier set by the Cosmic Princess, most magic spells, including teleportation, could not be used, so the Cocoon Queen chose to confront it head-on. She charged up her horn and easily dispersed the fireball with a magic beam. Cosmic Princess, do you really think such foolish attacks can harm me? I advise you to surrender, at least you will suffer less pain. Just as the Cocoon Queen attempted to provoke the Cosmic Princess into revealing her location, a sudden voice came from behind her. I'm sorry, but you'll have to eat more of these foolish attacks. Out of nowhere, a large white rabbit appeared behind the Cocoon Queen. What the bang? Take this moonlight kick. The rabbit kicked the Cocoon Queen's backside with immense force, sending her plummeting towards the ground. The kick caused the Cocoon Queen to lose control of her body in the air, and her panic prevented her from quickly using a magic beam. She could only be swept away by the force. As she fell closer to the ground, a large, chubby panda came into view. Long time no see. Let me show you the Dragon Rising Fist. Here we go. The panda charged up and delivered an uppercut to the Cocoon Queen's jaw, stunning her and sending her soaring into the sky. Above, a golden unicorn silhouette had been waiting for a long time. In the name of love, Holy Radiant Nebula. An immense magical force of love struck the temporarily defenseless cocoon, burying the Cocoon Queen deep in the ground. As the magical effects faded, only a nearly 100-meter-wide crater remained, along with the battered and unconscious Cocoon Queen. Wow, defeating the Cocoon Queen was surprisingly easy? The Cosmic Princess peeked over the edge of the crater, gazing at the damaged Cocoon Queen at the center with amazement. Red Star Sparkle also popped her head up beside her and said, the Cocoon Queen herself is not very powerful. Her physical strength is only slightly above that of an average dragon. Compared to her physical strength, her mind-controlling magic and illusion abilities, along with the countless magical spells sealed within the unicorn amulet, are much more troublesome. However, once she enters the anti-magic barrier you set, she cannot use those spells, so she can only choose to fight head-on. And against a fragile mage without teleportation or control, the 5 of them are professionals. After saying this, Red Star Sparkle lightly jumped into the crater and approached the Cocoon Queen. Sure enough, the Cocoon Queen's body had already collapsed, and she was only alive thanks to the magical gem maintaining her life signs embedded in her chest. This gem was also restricting the immense and chaotic magic within her, making her a ticking time bomb. Fortunately, without this gem, the cocoon would have already exploded into a mushroom cloud. Then, Red Star Sparkle took out a modified magic vacuum cleaner and aimed the intake at the Cocoon Queen, flipping the switch. Visible magical energy swirled out from the Cocoon Queen and was sucked into the vacuum cleaner for storage. The purpose of this was to prevent the magic within the cocoon from exploding and destroying all of Ponyland, since it was Red Star Sparkle's modified version. The vacuum's capacity was beyond imagination, more than enough to collect all the chaotic magic from the Cocoon Queen. Next, it was time to seal this magical fragment. A special treasure chest appeared in Red Star Sparkle's hooves, which was the same as the one she had lost before. Red Star Sparkle then reached out with her front hooves to grasp the magical gem while using her hind hooves to push hard against the Cocoon Queen's body, pulling with all her might. The gem remained firmly embedded in the Cocoon Queen's chest. All right, very good. You're forcing me to get serious, aren't you? Let me show you the power of the physics holy sword. As she spoke, a golden, legendary effect crowbar was wedged into the gap between the Cocoon Queen and the gem. After some effort, that damned magic gem was finally removed. However, once the gem was taken away, the Cocoon Queen breathed her last, her body turning to dust, as it relied entirely on the gem to sustain her collapsing form. At that moment, the Red Star Sparkling S hooves flashed with purple light effects, and suddenly, they cracked open. As the magic gem shattered into fragments, a hexagonal gem emerged from the debris. Seeing this hexagonal gem made Red Star Sparkling pause. No wonder. It really was you causing trouble. Unable to contain her curiosity, the Cosmic Princess approached Red Star Sparkling, watching her actions. And couldn't he help but ask, is this hexagonal gem that feels so wrong to me the fragment that Disorder mentioned? Upon hearing this, the Cosmic Princess's gaze sharpened as she looked warily at the top of the pit. Seeing this situation, the figure in the black cloak no longer hid. Stepping out boldly, jumping onto the slope of the pit, sliding down gracefully to the bottom, and walking a few steps to stand before Red Star Sparkling and the Cosmic Princess. I suppose you have quite a bit to say. Looking at the black cloak before her, the Cosmic Princess's expression was somewhat unfriendly. The black cloak said nothing more and simply flicked the cloak back, revealing a pink pony with a mane resembling cotton candy standing before them. What a surprise. This pink pony was none other than the famous Pinkie Pie. Upon seeing the newcomer was Pinkie, a light bulb went off in Red Star Sparkling's mind. So that's why everything was happening so quickly and easily. The Cosmic Princess beside her looked completely confused. You didn't expect this, did you? The mysterious figure who disguised herself as a black cloak and infiltrated the Cocoon Queen's ranks, crossing over through the mirror to steal the treasure chest from Red Star Sparkling's world, and made Pinkie in that world sense my presence to attract Red Star Sparkling to help deal with this time-space crisis is me, Pinkie, or rather, the Pinkie from this world. Wait, you're the Pinkie from our world? Or an important character that was supposed to appear in the original timeline? The Cosmic Princess felt puzzled, sensing a different temporal fluctuation from Pinkie. That's right, Your Highness. But before that, I need to explain that because of that fragment, the Harmony map summoned me and Disorder to solve this time-space crisis. Originally, I should have appeared 50 years ago to take that fragment away, but unexpectedly, Disorder's magic was so unreliable that it threw me 50 years into the future. As you know, the Cocoon Queen 50 years later is beyond my capability to handle. Moreover, due to the anomalies in time and space, Disorder couldn't use his magic normally in this world, or rather, the effects of his magic were completely different from what he intended. That's what he told me. Fortunately, Disorder received news from other worlds, informing me that a unicorn named Red Star Sparkling had saved many worlds from crises. So, I crossed over through the mirror magic and used the location of Red Star Sparkling's world that Disorder obtained from a fish named Sakaban to plan all the operations. However, the plan succeeded even better than I expected. After Pinkie finished her lengthy monologue, both ponies fully understood the situation. Pinkie had traveled through time to 50 years later, found herself unable to handle it, and thus led Red Star Sparkling to save the world. That's right. By the way, Red Star Sparkling, this is your treasure chest. Pinkie handed over the box with nearly unbreakable seals. All right, my mission is complete. Goodbye, everyone. As soon as she finished speaking, a flash of white light appeared, and Pinkie and the box containing the hexagonal gem disappeared. After expressing her gratitude, the Cosmic Princess watched as Red Star Sparkling opened a spatial passage with her suspended ring and slowly walked inside. On the other side of the spatial passage, Red Star Sparkling emerged, put away her suspended ring, and the passage closed behind her. Looking at the empty space in Ponyville where she had just arrived, she was surprised to find that Pinkie and Disorder were also here. Seeing Red Star Sparkling appear, Disorder looked as if it was only natural and didn't say much. He simply snapped his fingers. The world changed, and in the blink of an eye, the three ponies stood in a stream of time composed of countless time dials, with a time stream transforming into a progress bar that Disorder held in his hand. The progress bar began to rapidly reverse, and when it reached 0, Disorder clicked to start playback again. The world changed once more, and in another blink, the three ponies appeared in front of the friendship map in the friendship castle. All right, everything is back to how it was originally. Hooray! The mission was perfectly completed. Let us throw a big party. Pinkie pulled out a party cannon and fired it, instantly transforming the hall where the Harmony map was placed into a grand party scene. Looking at the three ponies suddenly appearing next to the Harmony map, Starlight Glimmer, who had been reformed for quite some time, felt both happy and a bit awkward, as she hadn't expected to face another situation due to her past mistakes, which was indeed quite a dilemma for her. By the way, who is this? Red Star Sparkling was about to speak when Pinkie suddenly jumped over and started explaining enthusiastically. Starlight was very surprised, especially Applejack, whose jaw nearly dropped in shock. Wait, Pinkie, are you saying he is my great-great-grandfather? Chapter 22. The insect plague. Red Star Sparkling crossed through a mirror, which was the same mirror that the other Pinkie used to steal the treasure chest. The other Pinkie was a bit too lively. It was unbearable. In comparison, the Pinkie here seemed overly quiet. It's quite strange to associate Pinkie with the word quiet. Red Star Sparkling dealt with some small things on her body, slowly exhaled, adjusted her state, and then turned to look towards Ponyville. Seeing the black, oppressive swarm of pixie flies that had devoured half the town, leaving nothing but ruins, her previously adjusted mindset began to fray. Forget it. Let us go take a look and see what's going on. With another sigh, she cast a teleportation spell and transported herself directly to the town. Very well, other ponies, let us rebuild Ponyville over there. There's less than a minute left. Maybe we can still do it. No, it's impossible. I've messed everything up. Just as she arrived, she saw Twilight sitting on the ground in a daze. Red Star Sparkling glanced at Twilight, then at the Ponyville residents running around looking for cover, and sighed helplessly. This group of young ponies can't compare to their ancestors at all. They panic at the slightest issue. Back in the day, the old comrades who built Ponyville didn't flinch at all, treating timber wolves like soccer balls. What about poisonous insects, fierce beasts, mutated monsters, or magical creatures? They came in roaring and left with bruises. I still remember that little girl Smith chased after a pack of timber wolves, taking them down ruthlessly. She turned them into wooden fences. If I remember correctly, Applejack's dog Winona still uses a chew toy that Smith took from the timber wolf leader. Red Star Sparkling lightly tossed a large gourd, which flew up and created a massive suction that quickly gathered all the pixie flies that were eating everything in the town. Twilight, recovering from her daze, looked at everything in front of her with tears welling in her eyes, almost ready to cry. Can any pony come tell me what happened in the town? Hearing Red Star Sparkling's words, Twilight quickly adjusted her state and succinctly explained the events that had transpired to Red Star Sparkling. Generally speaking, it's the invasion of the pixie flies. At the beginning, Ruru discovered the pixie flies and immediately notified the town about their appearance. Yes, it was Ruru, unlike in the original story. Due to the legendary status of Red Star shining in Ponyville, she often appears in the tales told by the parents and grandparents of the younger generation. For example, if they don't study a certain subject well or master the skills of a certain job, they might be criticized by Red Star shining and punished to write a 10,000-word reflection, and so on. This early exposure and influence have made Ruru understand much more about her work-related knowledge than the Ruru in the original story, including her understanding of the pixie flies. When the mayor learned about the situation, she quickly organized the ponies of Ponyville to respond to the crisis. The residents followed the recorded measures in the town, which included music guidance, to prepare for the potential insect disaster. However, even though preventive measures were taken, the ponies still underestimated the number of pixie flies. They appeared in large swarms, darkening the sky. The sound of the flapping wings of the pixie flies drowned out their music. Even Pinkie Pie threw aside her instrument and resorted to using a flamethrower. Unfortunately, the flamethrower couldn't burn many pixie flies at all. Does something seem off? Red Star Shining knows about the pixie flies, and the townsfolk have some understanding of them as well. There's even detailed documentation about pixie flies in the Golden Oak Library. But the pixie flies they encountered this time were too strange. First, music was ineffective against them, and even Pinkie Pie couldn't handle it. She had to resort to firepower, although it had no obvious effect. Moreover, their numbers were enormous. According to Ziyue, when they invaded, they were already in very large numbers, unlike in the original story, where they gradually increased in scale. Most importantly, Ziyue's magic was not the kind that altered the pixie flies as in the original story, but rather a purely repelling kind of mental interference magic. The principle and effect of the magic only made the pixie flies feel uncomfortable in their bodies, forcing them to leave Ponyville, but the ultimate effect was that it drove the pixie flies into a frenzy. The entire incident fell out of place. Even if it was a butterfly effect caused by Red Star Shining, given her research in this area, such an effect couldn't manifest in this way. It seemed someone was up to something, Red Star Shining thought. However, the immediate priority was to quickly assess the actual damage to Ponyville. As for the Cosmic Princess's visit mentioned by Ziyue, it could only be postponed. After all, Ponyville had turned into a battlefield of sorts, and there was no place to host the Cosmic Princess. Suddenly, Suilong appeared out of nowhere, holding a letter that looked like it was sent by the Cosmic Princess. Ziyue took the letter from Suilong, opened it, and read the entire content, letting out a big sigh of relief. The letter stated that due to the sudden large-scale insect disasters in many places in Pony Maria, the Cosmic Princess had to deal with the disasters and wouldn't have time to visit. Red Star Shining stroked her chin and pondered for a moment, but still had no clue. Strange, too strange. The entire event was filled with oddities, but before that, the post-disaster reconstruction work in Ponyville was also a headache.